Wow. Oh, it's good to be back. You know, after dealing with everything that is horrible with 50% off week at a delivery place that delivers pizzas, especially to hungry college students moving in, let's start with more suffering with a sad tale. I mean, we're trying to make it. I guess it's going about as well as it could. Our grandfather doesn't totally hate us. But let's see how our college years turn out. Here we go. 16 years old. The driver flicks the reins. The carriage slowly sways as it starts moving away from your home. You stick your head out the window and wave goodbye to your family. Nathan is running after the carriage with Thomas's younger brother in tow, tears glistening in their eyes. It hurts to leave your home behind. Ahead lies Eterna, the imperial capital. You have often read about it and heard stories from Father and Stefan. It is a city that surpasses Anziat enormously in terms of size, age, wealth, and beauty. But what was it really like? What kind of life awaits you there? What will you learn there, and where will your actions take you? You pass the old walls of Anziat. Somewhere within them is the old fortress you and Thomas built together out of wooden planks, now left to the care of your younger brothers. You two are adults now. Perhaps your fortress will crumble, now abandoned, or perhaps your brothers will continue what you started. Who knows? Man, I didn't even protect that fortress. I don't even think I have the right to say, it's mine. You look down at your hands, knuckles covered in scars from street antics, fingers stained with ink. Mother gave you a cross to wear away from home, and now you can feel its warmth against your chest. Your family counts on you, even though they all wish a different future for you, but they're behind you now in Anziat. From this point on, only you will decide which road you will take. This is the journey you prepared for throughout your entire childhood. Ahead of you lies many years in the capital, years that will determine your fate and your place in society. Alright. Life paths that you will choose from in this chapter. The path of the Lotless. You remain to the common estate with no choice but to fend for yourself and make your own way in the world. Path of the Priest. You enroll in the seminary, hoping to become a priest and assume the lot of the clergy. Path of the Nobleman. Like your father and grandfather, you enroll in the Imperial College, hoping to become a judge and a nobleman of the mantle. Or we reach our true death. Accept true death, or die 4 times. Oh, good lord. Imagine getting 4 deaths already. We're going to try to become the path of the nobleman. We already have our diplomacy up. We just need to enroll in the college. Events in the personal life of the hero that can happen in this chapter. Alice's rescue. Okay. Yeah, that's not good. Probably not going to happen. Collapse of the Lotless. I failed to protect the Lotless. The Empire utterly destroys the secret society. Okay, so I would have to know about the secret society. Lotless at large. You rescue the Lotless, and the secret society continues its activities in the capital. Wow, yeah, that ain't happening. That didn't happen for Panda either. He wasn't good enough to outwit Philippe. And oh boy, did he get fucked for that. Bond of friendship. You and Thomas form an unbreakable bond. I could still do it by being a path of the nobleman. Okay. Shield of the New Faith. You side with the New Faith to support the transformation of the church. Not bad, not bad. Path of the Priest ain't gonna happen. Shield of the Old Faith. Path of the Priest. Victory in a tournament. Fencing lesson. Not happening. Valor. Not happening. Fight for your father. Not happening. Path of the Nobleman. That's the only thing that could happen. Your personal qualities in this chapter. They will be used to test the rest of your life. Diplomacy. It's a 10, promising. I do believe that was from my perception and candor or whatever. So, I am promising. Okay. Theology 5, Manipulation 3. Whatever. Valor 9, weak in battle. It happens. Elegance, not good whatsoever. Scheming, ain't happening. Alright, here we go. College awaits. It takes a whole month to reach Eterna. You and Thomas spend days wagging your chins and staring at the scenery as your carriage makes its way along the road and towards the next province. Soon it crosses from familiar barren, arid lands of Magra to the stately mountains of Illyria. During one of your many stays at Roadside Inn, the two of you even manage to share a whole bottle of strong wine and keep a secret from the servant who drives the carriage. Adult life feels positively intoxicating. Soon, I tell you, soon we'll be there, and I'll earn my sword as soon as I get accepted into the military academy. You'll see. And then nobody's gonna walk all over me like I'm some commoner. You keep rehearsing everything they taught you in school. Soon you're almost at the end of your long journey. You have left behind the arid rocks of Magra, the mountains of Illyria, and the flooded meadows of Arcania. Eterna, the capital, is right ahead. That was loud. Situated at the junction between the Reglata and Taurina rivers, the city is vast. 3 majestic stone bridges keep its 3 shores interconnected. Smooth stones pave the main city streets. Gilded moldings decorate the buildings. Towering pillars reach high into the sky. Your carriage takes you past a spacious park with marble fountains and intricately trimmed bushes. On the streets, you see ornately decorated carriages bearing Arcanian coats of arms, and abundant merchants' tents filling the streets with beckoning cries and unusual sights. The spire of ancient temples dot the city skyline. The carriage comes to a halt in a large city square with towering marble fountain. The coachman says you have arrived. Thomas is to apply to the military academy. The academy barracks are 2 streets away. Your lodging house is in the alleyway nearby. A room has already been reserved for you. You get out of the street and say brief goodbyes to each other. You promise to meet again after the entrance exams. Then your friend disappears to the crowded streets of the capital. You are left to your own devices in this vast city. A group of nobles walk past. They are dressed in well-fitting clothing decorated with gems and golden thread. You are not even noticed. Street urchins chase a dog down the alleyway. Soldiers of the Imperial Legion are marching to fifes and drums towards the barrack. Humble pilgrims are gathering to the great temple of the twins. There are sounds of music and fountains and smells of baked bread and garbage drains. You quickly check in at the lodging house, then go back outside. The sun is setting. The street lights come to life. Merry music fills the taverns. Couples in noble coaches with tinted windows fill the streets. Shadows and hushed voices and laughter fill the parks. You are all alone in the city, so vast and unfamiliar. You take a look around, determined to fill your first night in the capital with memories. Oh, what shall we get into? You see young nobles gathered by the fountain, talking and making jokes excitedly. One of them keeps glancing at the clock tower. They are about your age. Their clothes are hand-tailored, and 2 of them bear noble swords. They seem to be waiting for something. Might be a good idea to make their acquaintance. It would be most helpful to develop a familiarity with the influential nobles of the capital. Loud music from a large establishment on the corner districts just distracts you for a moment. The servants have just opened the shutters to air out the hall. It seems there will be a gathering inside. People from various estates greet each other as they take their seats. A servant by the door with the establishment hails you. Sir Gert Arkwright will be making a speech about the rights of the common estate. If you wish to listen, you better get inside quickly. Then you look at the great temple of the twins at the far end of the street. The pillar shines in the evening dusk above it. The temple gates are open and worshippers are flocking inside. There are too many people for an ordinary service. This must be something important. What do they preach here in the capital? What do they say of the new faith of the teachers of the Patriarch Fotis? You snap out of your reverie when you hear loud laughter. A group of young men dressed in the colors of the Imperial College have made the acquaintance of several lovely girls. They're making their way down the road, united by merriment. One of the girls smiles at you. It is an invitation to join them. They turn the corner and walk away, but you can still hear their voices ringing and echoing through the streets. A night of revelry and jolly. Loud fun doesn't sound half bad. Oh God. The decisions to make. This is your first night in Eterna. No matter what you choose, you'll remember it for a long time to come. Oh, man. Do I go out and party hardy? Do I visit? I'm visiting the Great Temple, and you know what? Let's meet with the noble youths and see what they got. You know, I want to make it good in high society. I want to do right by my grandfather, you know. The least I can do is make sure that his family isn't stained any more than it already has been. You approach the young nobles and introduce yourself tactfully. Your father, a judge, has sent you here to study, you explain. Would they mind showing you around the capital? The nobles eye you uncertainly and whisper to each other. You prepare to face their rejection, but to your surprise, they agree. When the clock tower strikes 8, your new acquaintances proceed to a rich house not too far away. Candlelight fills the halls before you, reflected in abundant mirrors and gilded picture frames. Manservants bring drinks and refreshments to every guest. There are sounds of... Alright, come on. There are sounds of music and laughter and small talk. Here and there you see couples dancing to the music. It appears you have made it to a small noble party. The nobles are gathered in groups. You take the time to get introduced to each of them and join them in small talk. Some discuss their studies at the college, while others relay fresh gossip. Have you heard of the Melanthius carriage that was seen in the city the other day? You mention how you once encountered Octavian Melanthius, daughter and heiress to the Archduke of Magra, at a square in Anziot. Those words draw a small crowd. Oh boy, our past is catching up with us. Hopefully this is good. The Melanthius dynasty rarely, if ever, visits Eterna. They say it's the only house that can stand its ground against the Imperial Tempest dynasty. One young man even allows himself a little joke. They say the great Arcanian house turns to a Melanthius only when a Tempest needs to be refused. After all, only the Melanthius dynasty still knows how to say no. But there is more. It turns out all humans owe Melanthius' dynasty for their foray into nobility. Sharn Melanthius was the Arcanian who opened the first college, and its graduates were the first to be ennobled by the mantle. To feed and nourish their barren land, the Dukes of Magra took to industry and began adopting innovative industrial and social practices. The dynasty's motto is Remembrance of Majesty, but strife and change would suit them better. Then the nobles start discussing the other great Arcanian dynasties. The Tempest dynasty is the first of the first, naturally, marked by the twins, anointed to rule. All Tempests are known for their sincerity, often bordering on a volatile temper. Yet it is this very passion that has led them throughout history. The Tempests have been chosen by the gods to rule the empire. The Diamant dynasty are the main supporters of the Emperor's family, honor personified. The Diamets preside at the Arcanian courts of honor that remain throughout the empire, in spite of the public taboo. These courts hold more sway over the laws and lives of the nobility than the imperial edicts or prefectural authorities. Some mention Patriarch Junius Diamant, the black sheep of his own dynasty. He preaches the new faith that rejects the lot and stirs the minds of the common folk. The Orgriff dynasty is another noble bloodline favored by the emperor. They zealously advocate the twins' faith and see the empire as the union between heaven and earth. Every year, the Ogriffs donate enough funds to build new temples across the empire. So, yeah, that's incredibly wealthy. Holy crap. The Monroe dynasty is ancient and controversial name. The Monroes often speak in favor of removing humans from nobility. Ooh. Restoring nobility to a solely Arcanian privilege, and returning all human-manned offices of the empire to the Arcanians. Many gossipers accuse the Monroes of plotting against the rule of the Tempest to bring back the old Arcanian Republic, and the joint rule of the great Arcanian dynasties as it existed long before the emperors first came to be. So, assholes! The discussion of courtly affairs and noble dynasties soon gives way to cultural entertainment. Expensive wine flows like water. You too ask a couple of noble ladies to dance and show your skill. You return to your lodging room with small hours of the night, with just enough strength left to undress before your aching head and feet make you collapse. Exhausted. Yeah. Manipulation went up. Diplomacy went up. That's the important thing. I want diplomacy to go up. As high as it can go. For the first time in your life, you have mingled with a noble crowd on your own without your family's aid. Arrival to the capital. You arrived in Eterna, the ancient capital of the blessed Arcanian Empire. Luke's sermon. You have spent the last 3 days studying books, but today you decide to take a walk through the streets of Eterna. They are full of life as usual. You proceed to the square next to the lodging house. A procession of priests walks through the square. You notice how one of them holds a banner of the new faith, an open book. This is the same banner that was behind Patriarch Fotis on the day of his assassination. A crowd immediately gathers around them. Many people are looking at an icon painting of a small pedestal depicting a gray-haired man with glowing green eyes. You recognize that face, the face of the late Patriarch Fotis. A man with a thick beard appears by the icon painting. His broad shoulders bears a white and gold cloak with a coat of arms of the capital province embroidered on it. He is Luke, Patriarch of Arcania. He casts a stern gaze over the crowd. I speak to all who live within the sight of the shining pillar. Exactly 1 year ago, we lost Fotis, Patriarch of the Bagra province, mentor of the new faith. Patriarch Fotis was the first to see the books of Isadius for nothing more than the words of a man, not the words of the twins themselves. He was the first to tell people to seek the path of gods in their own hearts instead of blindly following the lots. To seek answers in the lives of the twins and their own hearts rather than the words of the priest. Through Patriarch Fotis, we are able to see the truth. Through his death, we saw that his words are not heresy. They are words that used to be obscured by Isadius' lies. And now I bring good news. Patriarch Junius Diamond has seen it that our teacher will be canonized as a saint. Yes, Junius Diamond, an Arcanian from the great dynasty Patriarch of Astynia, has joined the new faith himself. And through this, we hope that the entire empire will see that our doctrine is the truth. We are free from the shackles of the lots. We are free. We are equal before the twins. With each day, more and more people hearken to the truth, and one day the entire empire will hear our call. So let us pray, my brothers. The believers around you bow their heads with prayer and thank the twins, not for the lot they were given, as they usually would, but for the chance to choose their own path. The Patriarch's sermon is inspiring. It compels your hands to meet the sign of the prayer. It compels your lips to repeat the words of the new faith. Patriarch Luke's sermons form a cadence, and your heart beats in time with it now. Recall the murder of Patriarch Fotis a year ago. It seems more patriarchs share his doctrine now. The news of Junius Diamond joining the new faith is stunning. If an Arcanian from a great dynasty has sided with Fotis' doctrine and agreed to see everyone as equals under the twins, the new faith must truly be putting down roots. Give me a second. But suddenly, several figures appear by the podium. Figures clad in black, with glinting silver on their sides. Inquisitors. They push through the crowd and form a circle around the Patriarch Luke. One of these priests rises before the crowd. He is clean-shaven, tall, with a chiseled feature. Everyone falls silent at the sight of him. The Inquisitor speaks with a booming voice that can be heard by all. Yeah, no one expects the Inquisition, do they? Okay. I am Father Ulrich. In the name of the twins and by my right as an Inquisitor, I order you to turn around and leave. The words you're hearing are full lies. Patriarch Luke has set out to poison your hearts and minds, and the Inquisition will not allow this heresy to spread. The only true path in life is the will of the twins. Life offers us no other choice. You are hereby ordered to disperse at once. Most people leave the square immediately. Few want to get involved with the Inquisition. Some people stay, however. And some even shout angrily. We want to listen to Luke. He is the Patriarch of Arcania, and has more to say. Get away from our sermon, O believers. We will not listen to you and your hoary old lies of the lots. Inquisitors, bring those who may yet listen back to their lots, and leave the others to the champions of faith. The black-clad inquisitors descend upon the podium and approach the people who they chose to stay. With nothing but their words, they make the people stop shouting and start listening. The uproar ceases quickly. They have dissected the crowd, split in a smaller group that surround each inquisitor. One of these inquisitors chooses to approach you. He is a humble-looking man of age with a rough haircut. He looks you straight in the eye as his lively, soulful voice forces you to listen to his words despite yourself. My name is Father Jeremiah. I know your thoughts were stirred by the Patriarch's words. You are not sure whom to trust. But I teach at the seminary. I have been studying the teaching of the twins my entire life. You can trust me. I know you can hear what I have to say. I see their light in your eyes, and the light of the true faith. Will you listen to my counsel, my son? You feel no malice in the words of the Inquisitor Jeremiah, only hope. To his lot to aid you, to guide you away from the error and set you on the path of the true faith. He is a priest, so he should know the truth. Or perhaps the Inquisitor himself is in the wrong. Alright, what to do? Accept the Inquisitor's counsel. You argue against the Inquisitor in the favor of the new faith. I probably don't even have close that. You refuse to be ordered around by him. It's not the clergy's place to give orders. Oh, man. I mean, I have high diplomacy. I should be able to debate them. Province. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Personality. Yeah, diplomacy, I mean, that might take eloquence. I mean, this isn't dealing with the laws of the this isn't dealing with laws or anything. I could listen to him, I could debate him. You know what? Let's listen. Maybe if I was eloquent enough, but whatever. At this crossroads in your life is an unfamiliar city, you honestly need advice. You lower your gaze, ask Father Jeremiah to show you the way and guide you from error and doubt. The Inquisitor smiles and takes your hand. My son, all of us may sometimes stray from the path predetermined by the twins. You are well dressed, yet I assume you are of the common estate, are you not? You nodded, Father Jeremiah sighs. In these difficult times, people of your estate are the ones most tormented by doubt. Your lot is suffering, but not all of you are ready to suffer. Some turn to guile and cunning to avoid it. They may end up in eternity's embrace at the foot of the pillar. Please understand, my son, your lot requires humility. Suffering is inevitable, so is doubt. Each of them may temper your soul, yet each may also destroy it. But know this, if you have doubts, you are always welcome at the temple. No priest will turn away in a moment of weakness. This is why we exist, to fortify faith in the hearts of all people, to bring word of the twins to those who have gone astray. Know this, the Inquisition does not imprison everyone suspected of heresy. We exist to protect souls, to guide and save them. We pursue dangerous doctrines and seek to rescue every soul we meet. Arrest or execution is our last resort, reserved only for sinners beyond redemption. You can see that I am merely speaking to you right now. I have not resorted to force, nor am I giving you orders. You are following your lot by hearing my counsel with humility. With this in mind, consider the following. Did the Patriarch speak the truth? You consider this question. Your fascination with Patriarch Luke's speech has vanished. Was it a sermon or a temptation? The Patriarch of Arcadia made you doubt your faith in your lot. He made you see darkness and doubt, but all this time your lot has remained the same as the one you were born with. You fold your hands in prayer and thank the Inquisitor for his counsel. The light of the twins keep you on their path, and not even a Patriarch will be able to tell you to intervene. Only a new sacrament, and not your will, can change your lot, you explain, and only the Imperial College can lead you to a second sacrament. Your voice starts shaking as you say this. Father Jeremiah notices it. This is not the only way, my son. You can always come to the Divine Seminary and become a priest. If you come to the seminary and prove you deserve the lot of the clergy, you will be accepted. I teach there. I'm always happy to see students of considerable talent. The connection of the twins is strong indeed. Only people such as you have it in them to guide and care for others. The work of a priest is no less important than the works of a judge. You bid farewell to Father Jeremiah. While you were talking, the world around you seemed to vanish. There was just you, him, and the word of the twins. Okay, theology went up another tick. Did not want that, but hey, whatever. The square is calm now. The Inquisitors are providing counsel to those who remain. Patriarch Luke and his retinue can no longer be seen. You walk back to the lodging house, mulling over Father Jeremiah's words about the seminary. Your family sent you to earn a noble title, but you have an opportunity to become a priest, the old faith or the new. If you see your destiny in service of God, no one has the right to stand in your way. The advance of the new faith. Patriarch Luke's sermons have converted many commoners and nobles to the mantle of the new faith. There are now several temples in Eterna that follow new canons, with Luke's blessing. This has led no small amount of anger among the followers of the old faith. 2 mighty bishops of the church lead the new faith. One of them is Luke, the Patriarch of Orkneyia himself, spiritual mentor of the capital province. He preaches all across Orkneyia, his every sermon adding to the new faith's flock. The other leader of the new faith is Patriarch Junius Diamond, hailing from a great Orkneyan dynasty. He is the de facto ruler of Astinia province. Adored by his subjects, he founded the Holy Order anew. Junius Diamond rarely preaches, but people believe that the Austinian Patriarch attends to the needs of all those who convert to the new faith. The schism within the church is growing. The split has furthered the divide between the commoners and the nobles, though thankfully there are no direct conflict as of yet. But it has become clear that there is no way to stop the steady advance of the new faith. Born from the death of Patriarch Fotis, it grows stronger by the day. Oh boy, people are getting ready. It's getting to a point of unrest. We got that schism going. The next few weeks pass by in hard work and preparation for the coming entrance exam of the Imperial College. You grow more and more exhausted with each passing day, so much so that one night you fall asleep while studying another book. When you finally come to, you decide it's high time to get some recreation outside. The city of Eterna amazes you as you stroll through its splendid streets. It is another night, a different night, yet the city is still beautiful still. The shining pillar is a slice of light against the dark sky. The lamps on the facades of the building are lit. Night descends on the capital. You don't feel like going back to your books tonight. Recently, you made the acquaintance of several young men. They are children of the nobles of the mantle just like you. Sent to the capital to earn their noble titles at the college, you decide to seek them out. Your new friends are having a late dinner on the street over, loudly discussing their plans for the night. Some speak eagerly of a dueling club where you see the most skilled ardent duelers of the Empire doing what they do best. You have never seen professional duelers fight. It must be far more exciting than the father's fencing lessons or that fight in the ruins of Anzia. And if luck favors you, perhaps you can even make useful contacts among the noble families in the capital. The others try to convince the rest to take a trip to a certain secret salon. The establishment is expecting a guest tonight, they say. A young lady who speaks about the true state of affairs of the Empire. There are many questions about the nature of the place and identity of the mysterious speaker, but the young men have only one answer. They are forbidden to speak about this outside the club. However, they could take you there as long as you aren't afraid to learn a dangerous truth. There are others still drinking their fill of wine rather than eating. Fencing, they say. Speeches, nonsense. The place you ought to go tonight, they claim, is the Marquean Society, a gathering for those of the common estate but uncommon opinions that offer pleasures for everyone. Pleasures of the palate, pleasures of the drink, pleasures of the flesh. Is this not heresy and a crime? Perhaps, and yet some of your newfound friends are eager to go there. In the end, your group splits into 3 and spend the night as they see fit. What will it be? Featuring the best fencers, establishment, or an encounter with the people who defy their lot with audacity? Oh boy. Oh, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to go with the dueling club. Secret Salon. Maybe if my intrigue was really good. that. I mean, that would be manipulation and scheming. I mean, although that might actually make me less stressed. You know? Let's go duel. What's the worst that could happen? You march down the street towards the dueling club, which is located in a manor house decorated rather modestly on the outside, but lavishly on the inside. One of your newfound friends nods to the servants and let you in. The rooms are stuffy, noisy, and filled with tobacco smoke. The sitting room is enormous. The center is an arena, circled with wooden railings. Two young nobles are fighting there already. You take a glass of wine from a servant and watch them fight from one of the many soft chairs. You cannot bear a sword yet, but nobody says you cannot watch. As soon as a dueler is wounded, the fight ends, but the way they fight still makes the audience gasp and scream in awe. When a dueler is too slow to dodge, the duel ends with a bright red line cut through his sweat-soaked white shirt. The thin fencing swords cut through the air so quickly you only see glints of flashing steel like lightning in a storm. You do your best to remember all the feints and tricks you see tonight. They will come in handy when you earn your own sword. But then a tall Arcanian enters the room. He barges in from behind you and leaps into the arena between the two fencers, thus ending the duel. He bears a coat of arms with a griffin. This Arcanian hails from the great dynasty of Orgriff. The Arcanian's voice booms as he challenges everyone in the audience to a duel. He sneers smugly. If you consider yourself nobles, then how about you face an Arcanian lord in honorable combat? Yeah, that's probably a quick way to a death. No one moves. No one dares step forth. A duel with an Arcanian is suicide, especially if that Arcanian hails from one of the great dynasties. Such a duel will end with a lesser death at best, or with a true death or the trial and execution at worst. Everyone knows the punishment for spilling blue blood. Sorry. And so, everyone remains silent. The Arcanian grins. So, humans are cowards, he says. You will never be true nobles if you're not ready to risk a lesser death. Then Arcanian honor and tradition is not for you, and war is not your domain either. For human nobles are but a mockery, gathering of animals dressed to resemble higher beings. I do remember that this is like the family that likes to keep the noble families pure. Assholes. A man leaps into the arena. He is tall as a tree. His pockmarked face is white with rage and covered in scars. There are whispers of reverence in the audience. This is Marth Ferocity, the owner of the club. He's accepted the challenge for the honor of all human nobles. He has yearned to fight in Arcania all his life. Now is his chance. The duelers salute each other and Sir Ferocity begins the attack. A lunge, a jab, another, and another. The young Arcanian deflects each attack like he knows his opponent's every move. Sir Ferocity's eyes twitch with tension. The owner of the club lunges again, but the Arcanian deflects sword rips a weapon out of the human's hands. Marth looks at the Arcanian in confusion, then bows his head in recognition of his defeat. The Orgriff youth flashes a proud, superior grin. His fencing sword lifts the sleeve of his opponent's defeat and bears 3 black marks of lesser death. Now the young Arcanian eyes Sir Ferocity with mockery of sadness and compassion. Why, it appears the poor, overeager ex-commoner is on his last life. Ferocity shudders. He asks the Orgriff youth to be so kind as to spare his life, nobleman to a nobleman. The Arcanian's face grows dark and grim. His sword stabs deep into Ferocity's chest. Oh my god. Then the Orgriff youth speaks loud enough for everyone to hear. He is the only noble in this hall. He says that everyone who saw this must forget the dueling club ever existed and leave its place never to return. The nobles scowl, dress reluctantly, and leave the quiet resentment. No one dares to defy the Arcanian openly. The nobles gathering disperses outside. You return to your lodging house, lost in thought. Arcanians stand far above humans. They do not care if you're a commoner or a high-ranking noble. In their eyes, you are only human. It seems there is nothing that can readily oppose Arcanian power. They are the masters of this world, and humans are pale reflections of them at best. Alright, we are a mediocre fighter. The trip to the dueling club had on a grim note, but you learned a lot from watching Eterna's best duelers in action. You recall their lunges and blocks before you sleep, rather than master of the dueling club being murdered in cold blood. Alright. We survived a year. The Code of Laws. You are on your way to the largest library in Eterna to study for your entry exams. It is right next to the college. The streets are full of people. Everybody is excited. You hesitate for a few seconds, then let your curiosity get the better of you and head towards the place where you will soon study. Before long, you hear the shouting. The great chancellor is about to give a speech about the future of the empire. You cannot possibly miss this. You mix it with the crowd and soon find a convenient place to listen and watch what is about to unfold. On the steps of the college, you see a small tribune guarded by 2 Arcanians armed with swords. This is the first time you ever see an Arcanian standing guard, let alone 2 of them. The doors of the college open to reveal a stately Arcanian surrounded by honor guard. It is he, Cornelius Tempest, great chancellor of the empire, younger brother to the emperor himself. He heads for the tribune and casts a look over the square. It's full of people in awe and utter silence. Long ago, humans witnessed the Arcanians' arrival. 2 nations built the empire side by side. The provinces joined us one by one, and Magra was the final province to attain the absolute might and majesty of the blessed Arcanian Empire. Yet there was another great event long before that. 1,000 years ago, the twins have graced us with their presence. With their arrival, the twins granted us their will. They showed us their love, their law. They granted us knowledge of what awaits us in the hereafter. They chose the dynasty of Tempest to rule the empire, and from that day forth our dynasties have ruled this land, ordained by the gods themselves. However, it is our duty to the twins to not seek power before power's sake, but rather to lead the empire to further prosperity. And so the Great Imperial Council is soon to review and adopt a new set of laws called the Creed. Under the Creed, all estates will be granted rights. Under the Creed, there will be one law for all Imperial citizens to obey. Human or Arcanian, from the lowliest commoners to the emperor himself. The strife among the estates will end. A single law will resolve all of our quarrels. Glory to the empire. I highly doubt that would happen, but if I could push that, I would. The great chancellor throws his arms in the air. The crowd murmurs and applauds in approval. Cornelius Tempest casts another look over the crowd and leaves. The crowd disperses. The sounds of agitated discussions are everywhere. Is it true that the Emperor's dynasty seeks to grant equal rights to all estates? What will happen to the Empire then? Ooh. Struggle for power. Man, that's gonna be rough. A girl from my past. Ooh. It is early morning. You have been awake since sunrise, studying. There's a knock at the door. Is it a letter from home or a hotel servant? You open the door and freeze, stunned. Sophia. Oh, jeez. My former neighbor. Okay. Wait, is she the one that got killed? Or was she the one that I ratted out to? To the noble. Hello, Brant. Before you stand Sophia, the girl who used to live next door. She's all grown up now. She looks so different, but you would always recognize those blue eyes no matter what. You gesture for her to come in. Sophia enters the room, glances around, and sits in an armchair. You eye the girl you used to know as you sit across from her, but the young woman you see now is little in common with the girl you used to know. There is cold steel in the way she looks at things. Her hair is cut short. But what is she doing here? I can explain. I've been living in Eterna for a long time now, ever since I ran from Anziot. I heard the other day that you'd left for the capital to get into college, so I found you and here I am. Are you going to curse me again because I really don't need this? You ask about how Sophia learned about your arrival while you were staying, but she answered your question with an enigmatic smile. We'll get to that later. Right now, I want to see how much you've changed since we last saw each other. As for me, I've changed a lot. I'm a whole different person now. You look away as you recall your previous encounter, back when Sophia ran away from her Arcanian master. Sophia chuckles as she continues. Would you like to know what happened next? I traveled through the entire empire all alone. I had nothing. My journey ended only when I reached this place, the capital, with all its important people and events. This is the heart of the empire. It's a place where I could make a difference. I made friends here, found people I could truly call my family. I even got an education of sorts, and I have a purpose now. I fight against injustice. I fight against the lots. I fight those who treat our lives like mud on the pavement. And no, I'm not afraid to tell you that I came to you for a good reason. I need help. I know you. I have faith in your good heart, and besides, this is also about the Imperial College you want to enroll in. Dude, you don't like me, okay? There's a scholar there by the name of Bartholomew Dexter. He teaches a natural science at college. Dexter is an old man, but he's quite progressive. He'll stop at nothing to advance science and acquire new knowledge. As you know, only second-generation nobles or above are allowed to teach at college. But Dexter, he is a commoner. He forged his patent of nobility to get a position at the college. But the secret chancellery recently learned of this. Dexter is about to face true death for this forgery. Oh boy! But how is that justice? A man wants to teach people, and for this they're going to take all of his lives? They're going to punish him for the crime of being born in the wrong estate? It's evil and obscene. I will not stand for it. Dexter deserves to be rescued. But I don't want to put anyone in danger, so I need your help. You're from a rich family. You're almost a noble. If you help me to get Dexter out of the city, nobody will suspect anything. No one will know, and the scholar will live on to continue his research elsewhere, far away from the secret chancellery. Will you help me? Damn. Alright. You feel perplexed by Sophia's sudden request. She has asked you to break Imperial law and undermine the work of the secret chancellery to save the scholar. Rescuing Dexter would be an adventure, but it would also be incredibly dangerous. And besides, Dexter is a fake noble. He resorted to lies and deceit to get his current position. How much does this matter to you? Sophia's blue eyes are studying you, waiting for you to reply. Well, I can't help her. Assuage your guilt. Oh! Aw, man. Don't have the willpower for that. There's no way you're going to rescue some false noble. He is getting his just desserts. Turn Sophia over to Otten. If you help her now, make up for what you did to her. So that's how I would be able to apologize. Can't agree to help her, so, well, we got no choice but to refuse. I can't do it. Sorry. No, you say you're not going to help Sophia. You're not going to break any laws for her sake. You did not come to the capital for this. Dexter, a fake noble, deserves his fate. He tried to fool the law, the college, and the empire itself. Even a scientific genius must be punished for such forgery and deception. Man, I can just say, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Why am I just going off on this tangent? Why can't I say politely refuse or be a dick and refuse? Come on. He had a paper that said he was noble. Only a sacrament can make a person noble, so Dexter's crime is an affront to the gods themselves. Man, I am just going on a tangent here. Oh, here we go. Sophia leaps to her feet, her eyes burning with wrath, about to shine with the yellow light again. You cringe involuntarily. Your law makes slaves of us all. We are born, we live, and we die, all to serve those who are born to a higher estate. Is this the order you want to protect? The fire in Sophia's eyes fade. She suddenly grows silent, then continues calmly. And so be it. I don't blame you. It's not easy to break these chains when you've been wearing them ever since you were born. They bind you better than any magic. I hope you realize this before your great empire chooses you and spits you out. Goodbye. Sophia leaves. The door shuts behind her. You return to your books. The entrance exam is coming up, and you have to work hard if you want to achieve your goals. What can I say? She really hates me. A few days later, a newspaper article catches your eye. Bartholomew Dexter, an elderly lecturer at the Imperial College, was arrested while attempting to escape the capital. The scholar was sentenced to breaking on the wheel and a subsequent true death for forging a patent of the nobility. So the fake noble suffered in death as he was supposed to suffer in life. Hey, valor goes up and diplomacy goes up. I guess that was the right choice for me. Almost influential. Almost there.
I will never forget that day. For it was then that I chose the path I would walk for the rest of my life.
I will make you proud, Dad. And you too, Grandpa. The 3 lots. There are only a few days left until the Imperial College entrance exam. History, law, theology. You spend all day reading and rereading the books you brought with you, staying at the Library of Eternia for hours. Sometimes until it closes. As the day of the entrance exam approaches, your hands start shaking more and more, and finally, the day comes. A clear sky hangs over Eterna today. The breeze is warm. You dress in your best outfit, a gray jacket and velvet culotte trousers. You comb your hair carefully and polish your boots until they shine. You leave the lodging house and head for the Imperial College. Your legs grow heavier with each step. Your anxiety at the fact your fate will be decided today is virtually tearing you apart. The college is a majestic building that looks not unlike a castle. In the square in front, you could already see dozens of people, young men, sons of nobles of the mantle, like you, waiting for the college doors to open. Time slows to a crawl. At last, the doors open. A stately man dressed in a professor's mantle appears at the entrance. He is the dean of the college. The students-to-be fall silent as the dean gets ready to deliver his welcoming speech. But the silence is interrupted by heavy footsteps and clanking armor. A squadron of warriors emerge near the college, led by Arcanian officers. Their banners bear an image of golden grains. The noble militia of Mania province, what are they doing here? The nobles of Mania form a circle around the college, each warrior moving quietly and precisely until a chain is formed. One of the Arcanians is clad in an old-fashioned suit of armor. He is the leader of the militia. He locks the bar on a massive door to the college into place and proceeds the stairs to address the crowd loudly. Commoners! Before you stands Egarius of the Monroe dynasty, Archduke of Mania. By my will, the college is hereby closed and today's entrance exam is cancelled. Your lowly origins makes you unfit for the great honor of rendering service to the Empire. A right that ought to be available only to the hereditary nobles of the sword. What an asshole. The college's reputation has been tarnished. It breeds mock nobles who bear not a trace of noble blood. You belong in the lowly estate, but have forgotten your place. Cornelius Tempest and other traitors of the Empire are indulging you in defacing this institution of the nobility for their lowly interests. A noble lot for those of lowly birth. How can this be? I will not stand for this disintegration of the Imperial Order. Now turn away from the college this instant and return to the humble trade of your ancestors. Plow your fields, mend your boots, and work and suffer by your lot. If any of you dares to set foot upon these stairs, you will be killed at once. The students-to-be meet the speech with a stunned silence. The crowd in the square is growing. However, the news of the Mania noble militia and the college closing spreads to the streets like wildfire. More humans join the crowd. College students, commoners, officials who work hard to be ennobled. Unrest grows around you. You hear people calling to rush the Archduke Monroe's forces to take control of the college and defend your right to become a noble. The Empire himself gives us this right. We have to fight for it. This is a decisive moment for all of you. The old gentry has challenged you. Will you accept the challenge? In the face of this shameful, illegal act by the Archduke's forces, you may prove that all you deserve noble lot. You need to break through the cordon, get inside the college, and take control of it. The nobles will never dare hurt you if your presence is strong enough. If you're ready to risk it all and fight for your right to the nobility, you'll have to lead the charge. This is pretty heavy. People keep coming to the square in the meantime, including students and teachers for the Divine Seminary. The lot of the clergy is to guide others to the right path, while the estates clash. The priests are bound to intervene. The seminary teachers instruct their students to form a line between the noble militia and the outraged crowd. The priests begin telling the warrior nobles and the riotous commoners to return to the preordained divine order lest they provoke the wrath of gods. The wrath of God. Since the priest uttered these words, a crowd around you disappears. A vision appears before your eyes. The empire is ablaze. You see burning lands steeped with the pain and despair everywhere. You look everywhere you look. Rivers overflowing to extinguish the burning world. You can tell that soil scorched by such fire will never bear fruit again. The gods give a vision, demands to be heard, demands to be prophesied to the world. But only a priest may speak to the twins and for the twins. Will you keep it inside, or you step into the path the twins have revealed to you? Somebody shoves you in the back and you snap out of the vision. You turn around to see a small but decisive troop of commoners moving quickly through the crowd. They are led by Sophia. As soon as she sees you, she signals them to stop. So you're here too. Going to rush the college, are you? Can't you see it already? The laws can't be trusted. They gave you the right to study here just to throw you a bone. When the going gets tough, your masters will take it all away. It's time for you to decide. We are the Lotless, and we are not putting up with the system any longer. We will fight for a new world. Are you coming with us, or are you going to submit to them? God damn it. There are students and professors locked inside the college. Who knows how long? Who knows how long Monroe will maintain the siege? And what will they start slaughtering people? Neither group of nobles will care what happens to them. We're going to go inside and pull them out. Come with us, you're ready to take control of your own destiny. Man, the tension in the square is palpable and the situation is about to implode. Students and commoners, noble and mantle, followers of the new faith, all of them are gathering the forces to move on the wall of soldiers. They expect the nobles to let them through en masse. Surely this won't start a massacre. The Lotless, led by Sophia, to break through the siege, rescue the people of the college. And all the while, the priests preach peace to both sides of the conflict. Man, you guys aren't helping. The college is your only way into nobility. Only you can fight for your new lot and fulfill your duty to your family. You can organize an offensive strong enough to get into the college and thus seize your lawful right to be like a true nobleman. Yet the revelation of the wrath of God still pulses your mind. Once revealed, this vision will take you on a different path. Standing with the priest and preaching what you have seen, warning all the dire danger of the path of the warring estates. Bringing the twins' words with the people and guiding them to salvation. Could this be your new lot? Sophia and the Lotless. They expect you to join their struggle. They're waiting for you to cast off the old ways and the eternal yoke of subservience. If you choose this path, you will not change your lot and your suffering will continue. But your suffering might just change this world. This is the moment. Your future life will be decided here and now. Ain't doing that. You join Sophia and ready to try to rescue the besieged students? No, not happening. Oh, theology. Oh no, that ain't happening. You lead the future students and attempt to storm the college. We are doing this. I will make my grandfather proud. We are breaking through, baby. Breaking through my way. You get to work. Recalling the books on military tactics you used to study as a boy, you call out to the students and children of nobles around you and assume a command. They hear you and they listen. You stand together in close formation to march towards the weakest link of the line of nobles. More people join you along the way. A veritable phalanx of young men armed with nothing but determination against the noblemen's swords. The noble militia readies their steel. The Arcadian officer in command of the section halts you and orders you to turn back. You step forward and give him your reply. These people are here to study at the college the Emperor himself has decreed. You have every right to fulfill the imperial law, and any nobles who dare to intervene will be defying Uther Tempest II himself. Well said. Your plan works. There we go. The officer hesitates when confronted with your words and your vigor. The noble militia is no longer ready to use their swords. This is your chance. You command your forces to focus their advantage in numbers for a singular push, and the militia line breaks. You reach the college gates. More people start running for the breach. The nobles get their bearings quickly enough to restore the line, but your phalanx is already inside. You waste no time and begin barricading the gate. The students who were stuck inside the college run toward you. You quickly tell them your plan. Block all the doors and windows with whatever comes to hand before Monroe's forces can get in. If they do get in, only the twins know what they will do. One by one, all the entrances are swiftly barricaded. The riot outside the college is calm for a moment, it seems. Through an open window, you hear Monroe giving orders to his militia. The Archduke is forming a strong perimeter outside the college, ready for a proper siege. Students and professors of the college go to the balcony to negotiate. You are among them. Surrender and leave this building. I am not here to kill or execute you. No loyal subjects will die by my hand. Yeah, you're gonna definitely hate what's I'm about to do next. The humans boo and jeer at Monroe's proposal. The dean himself appears on the balcony. The imperial family established the college, he claims. He cannot defy orders given by the great Arcanian Tempest dynasty. And so the college remains besieged. The noble militia stands in a circle around the building, but there are no preparations for an assault. The outrage in the square continues. You remain in control of the college for the entire day and the following night. But at sunrise, the Emperor's herald arrives at the square. He brings news. The Emperor is delighted to see Archduke Monroe get the capital, yet he demands that the noble militia of Monia vacate the square and allows classes to begin at the college. The besieged college celebrates news. This is the work of Cornelius Tempest, great chancellor of the Emperor's brother. He managed to convince the Emperor to order Monroe to withdraw. Even Archduke of Monia, the most powerful noble lord in all the Empire, cannot disobey a direct order from the Emperor. Still, the college would never held out for an entire day without your phalanx determination, your daring plan. You, the people of the common estate, have secured your right to study and earn the noble lot. The college is open again, and with the entrance exam will take place in a few days. You aren't nervous at all this time. All the lessons at home, the books, the schooling, your own noble actions, all that work and effort has finally reached its culmination. The procedure for appointing a provincial overseer, the 5 great Arcanian dynasties, the property rights of all estates, you will answer all these questions with ease. Hours pass, and the dean of the college reads the names of the new students to the young men gathered at the college. Your name is among the first. He praises what you did in defense of the college. People like you are the Empire's future, Sir Brant, he says. Sunlight fills the college square. It feels so soft and soothing here in Eterna, not as harsh as it gets in Anzia. You watch the pillars shine in the sky as you walk down the steps of the college. You are Brant, the 3rd judge of the family, the man who will soon join the family's noble blood tide. You have seized your right to achieve the nobleman's lot. You should write to your father now. He will be so proud of you. Boom! I checked off everything on that. Path of the Nobleman. Like your father and grandfather, you enroll in the Imperial College, hoping to become a judge and a nobleman of the mantle. Yep, we've taken that, and who knows what's going to happen over here. You return to the lodging house one last time to gather your belongings for the move to your new home. A young man dressed in the uniform of the military academy greets you by the door. It takes you moments to recognize Thomas. Your friend locks you in an embrace. Brant, hey, how are you? I heard about the nasty stuff that went down on the college square. Those damn gentry would do anything to keep lowborn folks under their thumb. Glad the situation resolved itself. As for me, I am an Academy cadet now. He is beaming with pride. You invite him and chat while you pack. Thomas continues to relay the news as you walk up the stairs. I made it to the top 10. Can you imagine? Did pretty well in sparring and the sciences. It was all thanks to the help you gave me back in the school Anziat. I'll be studying the art of war now, and then a quick march to a noble title. How about you? Tell Thomas about what happened over the past few days and the path you have chosen. He remains quiet as you speak. Both of you realize you may never see each other again. You know, Brant, here's what I think. You may have your own path of life, but you're my friend. We gotta make our friendship last forever no matter what happens to us. Here, I brought 2 brass rings. If the old tradition is to be believed, both the rings and their wearers will always remain close to each other, no matter where the fate takes them. What do you say? I mean, I don't swing that way, Thomas, but, you know, maybe. The two of you grew up side by side. Thomas, the audacious, hot-blooded, sharp-tongued boy, used to live next door. You can't imagine your childhood without him. But would it be right to promise him that your friendship will last forever, no matter what happens? Damn. I can be cruel and end the friendship? Holy shit. If you wear these rings, you will be bound by ties of friendship for the rest of your life. Wow. Oh shit. I could end it if I didn't choose the path of the nobleman? Wow. You're sure you do your best to keep friendship alive, but you cannot promise it will last forever? Take the ring. Okay. Swear an oath. I can do that. Let's do it. You take one of the rings from the outstretched palm. The two of you walk side by side ever since you were children. Even now you are walking the same direction towards a noble title. You as a judge and Thomas as a warrior. Nothing will ever tarnish your bond. You swear an oath of eternal friendship to Thomas. Thomas solemnly swears the same. You put the brass ring on your pinky. Perfect fit. Thomas follows suit. He starts beaming again. Now we're friends forever, for all eternity. We gotta celebrate this. Come, come, I know a place. I gotta show you. Tastiest meat I ever tried, Brant. My treat. Bound by friendship. I'm surprised my relation didn't go up with him on that one. The two of you go to a noble salon by the square of Emperor Severin. Surrounded by tobacco smoke and meatballs, you wag your tongues, recall the days of your adolescence, and make plans for the future. No one knows what could be waiting for you, but you promise you will never lose sight of each other. There we go. Friends to the end! Let's see how that bites us in the ass. A letter from home. As soon as you are accepted in the Imperial College, you send a letter back home. But the family replies quickly. Their letters arrive in under a week. Most of it is covered with your father's handwriting. I am proud of you, my son, and I believe your grandfather takes pride in you too. You have brought our family one step closer to being ennobled by the sword. You will make an excellent judge. I have complete faith in your intellect and your will. You shall bring glory to our family. How formal. Stefan's congratulations follow your father. Congratulations, brother. The simple folk could only dream of what you have already achieved. You can thank father and grandfather for this opportunity, but it was you who proved yourself worthy. Once you receive your new lot, you and I will be equals at last. I forgot. Do you even like me? Then some words of praise from Mother and Nathan. Uh-oh. I don't think I'm going to get one from Gloria. You have brought your family much joy and made him proud. Your father. I am witness to this. You will walk in this path with all thanks to them. Yet it saddens me that you not consider the divine seminary where you could have dedicated your life to our gods as well as the Empire himself. You worked so hard for this. We held a big feast to your honor back home. I hope you achieved all you ever wanted. I'm sorry, Nathan. And at the very end, there's a small note from your sister. Oh, please tell me it's to get stuffed. Okay, congratulations, good luck. Short, sweet, to the point. Yeah! He really loves me. Yep, my brother loves me. My sister, whatever. It's only a few days since you became a student at the college. Your education has barely begun when an amazing piece of news surprised all the students. Every year, Cornelius Tempest, the great chancellor, the emperor's younger brother, grants an honor to all future nobles of the mantle and invites them to a masquerade at his summer palace. The professors and lecturers instruct you to look and act your best in order to preserve the college's honors, because that can't bite you. A bunch of college students go into a rich man's mansion for a party? Yeah, that can't go wrong. Especially a masquerade party? Jeez. They tell you more about the ball, too. All who attend from the college must prove themselves with words or deeds to the members of the great Arcanian dynasties that will be present there. This means the reputation of your home province will be at stake, too. Oh boy. It is time to get ready. You order a proper suit for the occasion and a mask to go with it. It looks simple, but by no means plain, and only hides your eyes. The day comes. You spend an entire morning preparing for the ball. Your fellow students give you hints about how to attach the cuffs, keep the collar straight, and make sure your hair remains coiffed for the entire night. Soon the carriages start flocking to Cornelius Tempest's summer palace. The tall, ornate outer fence surrounds a sprawling garden in full bloom. The marble-paved driveway is so wide it can accommodate 2 rows of carriages. You and your fellow students walk up to the massive stairs at the front of the palace. You seem tiny and incongruous against the background of this scenic grandeur. The Master of Ceremonies instructs all newcomers to seek their province's coats of arms. You see the banner of Magra from far away depicting the silver tree digging its roots in the murky gray soil. Below it is a banner bearing the coat of arms of Miliandus' dynasty. Turns out students from the college were not only once invited to this party. You see academy cadets lined up beneath them, banners too, and Thomas is among them. A wide grin appears on his face when he sees you go under the banner of Magra. I knew you'd be here today, pal. What can I say? Congratulations, student. As for me, I'm not so bad off myself, see? The military academy is father and mother to me now. His merry speech is interrupted by a tall, proud Arcanian in a heavy cloak. You recognize him. He is Dorius Otten, Sophia's former master. Oh boy. I helped him out, so he probably likes me. Okay, maybe not, but hey. He doesn't hate me. That's the point. Make way for your commander, soldiery. Last time you saw Otten, he was searching the back streets of Anziat by your house for a girl servant, but now the young Arcanian's uniform betrays his high standing. He is young, yet he is already the province's commander. Who put him in charge of all the military forces of Magra at such an age? What's wrong, you know him or something? A brief description of Otten is enough to wipe the smile off his face. You see no other high-ranking officials bearing the colors of Magra at this party. It seems Dorius Otten will be the main representative of your province tonight. Oh boy. Even I might need a drink after that. You watch the other college students and academy cadets line up under the provincial banners. The blue and silver band of Arcania, the Emperor's own province, is in the very center of the hall. Judging by the hilts jutting out from beneath their belts, many of those who surround that banner are nobles of the sword. Thomas is clearly jealous. The group from Arcania stands proudly ennobled by its iconic, dignified history. The Arcanian race and the Empire originated in their very lands. A sizable group of students stand under the banner of Monia, a wealthy agricultural province signified by yellow grains and a field of ore. The wealth of the young men beneath this banner is plain to see. Their attire is on par with the Arcanians in terms of luxury and perhaps even more vibrant in terms of color. The most numerous groups at the party stands under the banner of Illyria, a yellow griffin against the field of azure. All the Illyrians are clothed in well-tailored suits with a minimum of decoration. Some of them wear gloves, some of them come from wealthy industrial families. It seems many of them will feel more at ease with their family factories than at a noble party like this one. Three banners represent the northern provinces of Fiona, Hermia, and Constanta. Those banners, like the other groups associated with them, stand together. The Royal Tempest dynasty oversees all three of them. The students and cadets are clearly well off, yet they are dressed in modest, functional garments to honor the austere traditions of the North. And finally, the smallest of the groups is represented by an open book against the field of Argent. Astinia, homeland of the Diamond Dynasty, by order of Patriarch Junius Diamond. The open book of the new faith has been added to the banner only recently. Nearly all the young men beneath this banner are clothed in academy uniforms. They wear no adornments, but are clad impeccably, with nary a button undone, the embroiderment of a rigor and restraint. The master of ceremonies signals the beginning of the party. It's time for dancing. The first dance is a minuet, and tradition calls for everyone to dance. Harpsichord music fills the hall. The Academy cadets waste no time finding dance partners, and soon already making the fluid first steps of the minuet. You take a look around. One of the young ladies representing Magra catches your eye. She's slender, like all Arcanians, and clothed in a yellow dress embroidered with emerald green, her face hidden behind a full mask decorated with bright green feathers. What happens next seems unbelievable. The enigmatic lady walks towards you. The way she looks at you, the way she walks. The black eyes from behind the mask watch you closely. She tilts her head. There are no words, but you feel there is a question. Everyone in the hall is startled by a sudden noise. You look behind you and see Thomas getting up on the floor, his face a grimace of rage. Dorius Otten stands before him, eyeing him with disgust. His arm rests on the hilt of his sword. Who allowed this clumsy commoner inside the great Chancellor's palace? Its noble masters are trying to dance, and it's getting underfoot. Oh boy. Thomas looks like he's about to explode on his face, but the smug Arcanian sword is a clear threat. If your friend's rage gets the better of him, he will end up in trouble. The enigmatic Arcanian beauty, however, quickly loses all interest in their course. She comes even closer to you, expecting you to invite her to dance. Could resolve it. That could help my diplomacy. I could be even more diplomatic, or I could dance. You seize the day and dance with the beguiling Arcanian lady. Surely Thomas can take care of himself. I've ditched you for way worse, man. It could be the noble lady that was from a while ago. Nah, my friend's in danger. I gotta help him. You stand between Thomas and Otten before they can clash. The Arcanians eyes you with scorn. You shower him with a flurry of apologies for your friend. Thomas has never been to this kind of party before, and still has a lot to learn when it comes to etiquette. And besides, he is clearly flummoxed from witnessing an Arcanian up close. Otten smirks just barely enough to notice. Well said. Sometimes I forget you humans are barely smarter than beasts. Oh, what an asshole. Take pride in the fact that you were permitted to attend this party. You'll have stories to tell and all that. Very well, away with you. Try not to get in my way. Okay. Whew. Why, I recognize your face, now that I think of it. Ah, you hail from Anziat. Must see you in the streets somewhere. There are just too many of your kind about. But you're rather sharp. You've been taught how to behave. That's a welcome sight. Oh boy. You back away from the Arcanian in a most gallant way, clutching your friend by the arm. There's a mixture of rage and bewilderment on Thomas's face. Once you are far away enough, he swears under his breath ahead for refreshments. You follow him and watch him down 2 glasses of sparkling wine like a parched man guzzling water. Sure got skill when it comes to sucking up to the Arcanians, friend. You saved my hide today, no doubt about it. Still feels like a bucket of slop right into the face, though. Hey, could have been far worse, you tell him. Better a moment of shame than a fight with a mighty Arcanian in the middle of a party. Assaulting an Arcanian is the easiest way to meet a true death. Thomas says nothing of this and drowns a 3rd glass of wine. Out of the corner of the eye, you catch the mysterious masked Arcanian lady, all beauty and grace, dancing with Otten. You could have been in his place had you so chosen. Oh, I had manipulation up. That's not what I wanted. The Trial of the 50. You have lived another year in the capital. Eterna is shaken by what is now known as the Trial of 50. 50 people stand trial at once, all prominent members of several political circles. They are accused of treason and conspiracy against the crown. The accused spoke in favor of reducing the power of the nobles and granting more rights to the common estate. There was no mention of rebellion, yet those words alone were enough to indict them. Every session of the trial is open to the public. It is a show of power made to discourage people from forming such circles ever again. You attend one of these sessions. The 50 face their verdict, forced labor in the mines of Magra and Elleria for regular members, and true death for their leaders, 6 men and 1 woman. Their public execution takes place in the central square of Eterna. You remember the woman. Her name was Annie Siren. She made a speech before her execution. A young woman, not too tall, her face most plain, with long bangs over her eyes. She looks calm, even at this moment. You cannot believe she is about to leave this world forever. Annie Siren takes a look around before she speaks. Her voice is quiet, but you're close enough to hear every single word. She says she is happy to give her lives fighting for the rights of the people. Her cause will never die, it claims. Others, like her, will continue their work in hiding, for their cause is right and just. She is dragged away by the others, put a sack over her head, and tighten a noose around her neck. The head yanks on the lever, and the 7 dangle in the air. Their feet tremble at first, then grow still. There are gasps and cries of discontent in the crowd. Alright, order goes back up. Power is going back to the Overseer. Sir Elcroy's lessons. Your studies at the Imperial College may have begun with a luxurious party, but soon you settle in a routine lesson after lesson. Along with dozens of future judges, you spend hours listening to lectures in spacious college halls with high ceilings. You study imperial law and legislation, analyzing every technicality and interpretation. The subjects only get tougher, and instructors grow even more demanding as your studies continue. Yet law is not the only thing you study. There are other disciplines as well, such as rhetoric and orthography. A true judge must have perfect command of both the spoken and written word. Washing blue ink off your fingers becomes an indelible part of your daily routine. Of all your classes, you find fencing lessons particularly exciting. Instead of cutting things with a pen, you're cutting things with a sword, no wonder. Every lesson covers your body with more cuts and bruises and make your muscles ache from exertion, but your childhood dream is worth it. Then finally, there comes a short break in your studies, a handful of days for rest and recreation. Whoop. You meet Thomas to discuss how you're going to spend this time. Come with me tonight. No excuses, Brant. We'll be paying a visit to our mentor, Baron Elcroy. It's time you learn a thing or two about how we do things in the military. Your friend looks very cunning and pleased with himself when he says this. With a sigh, you change out your college uniform and into your best clothes and follow him. Thomas rushes you to a 2-story house somewhere in the noble neighborhood in the capital. The windows are open and you can see people talking over each other. The house sitting room is full of young people, at least 24 men, almost all of them academy cadets. In the middle of the sitting room is an armchair, and this armchair is a gentleman wearing the uniform of an Imperial Legion officer and smoking a pipe. His thick hair falls over his large, observant eyes. Baron Elcroy welcomes the two of you with a slight nod and continues his speech while everyone listens respectfully. As I was saying, young men, I firmly believe that the days when all the military glory of the Empire belonged to Arcanian dynasties are long gone. The human nobles have been serving the Empire at least as well as the Arcanian nobles for a long time now. Still, the Arcanians keep acting like their origin are more important than the honor and service to the crown. Take the Melanthius' dynasty, for example. The Archdukes of Magra, long ago, their leader, Char Melanthius, formed a rebellion against the rule of the Tempest and the Twins' faith. He sucked all life from his own land, doomed thousands of his own subjects, and yet the Melanthius' dynasty still rules over Magra like nothing ever happened. Then suddenly, Sir Elcroy flashes a cunning grin. I think this calls for a test of your strategic thinking, young men. First, let me refresh your memory on the rebellion of Char Melanthius. It may seem surprising, but we have him to thank for our current status. He was the first to ennoble humans, an act of unprecedented insolence, but it gave the rebellious Duke immense support in his province. He risked his own reputation and title to make himself stronger thanks to the humans. And to that, he succeeded. No one had ever dared challenge the rule of the Arcanians in Tempest before, but rebellions of Magra changes everything. Humans become a part of nobility. We got a taste of power only Arcanians can wield before. And unless I'm mistaken, most nobles of the Empire these days are human. Why, we outnumber members of the Arcanian dynasties dozens of times over. So Sharm Mellandius had a complete rule and control over the lands of Magra. He had the loyalty of his noble subjects. He had the loyalty of the mages and witches who fled to Anziat, the only place in the Empire where they could hide from the Church. The Archduke of Magra had everything he needed to win, and yet two pivotal changes brought him down. First of all, he cast a magic spell that incinerated the entire province. Oh my god, what an idiot. It certainly stopped the Imperial legions in their tracks, but the population of Magra would no longer side with Sharm Mellandius after that. Second, the clergy struck at the rebellious Duke with the power of the twins. His magic was gone, his main advantage was no more. Many fled, but as you know, it still took the Empire an entire month of siege before the palace at Anziat was taken. Jeez. After the rebellion of Magra, Empire changed drastically. And most importantly, humans finally received their lawful right to be ennobled. And I'd like to stress that in particular, ennobled not by birth, but by virtue of their own knowledge and talent. History, young men, is more important than just a memory of the past. It's also a lesson for our future. I believe that part of our history proves my point. And now a test. Tell me, if you were among the Imperial strategists during the rebellion, what would you have done? How would you have fought an enemy as powerful as Sharm Mellandius? With this, Sir Alcroy leans back to his armchair and takes a pull from his pipe while the cadets start discussing. Some take no time to say they cannot believe Sir Alcroy thinks humans were first ennobled by serving the rebellious Duke. Others say the prolonged palace siege might have been a mistake, and serving the palace would have been a better choice. Soon ideas start flying. Some will cause only laughter, while others lead to debate. They're discussing the past of Anziat, the past of your hometown. You cannot possibly stay silent right now. If you were commanding the Imperial Legions back then, what would you have done? Based on what you know about the rebellion of Magra, you see three potential strategies. The first involves calling upon the twins' miracle around Mellandius' magic and render them powerless. The second entails putting your faith in the discipline and valor of the army of a frontal assault. The third means drawing out the siege while making the enemy's life as hard as possible through cutting. Which one of these three strategies would I have chosen? I mean, we're just going to press for this. We're going to rely on the strength and valor of the Imperial Legions. Yeah. You decide it's time for you to answer Sir Alcroy. You begin by saying that you hail from the city of Anziat yourself. The cornerstone of the rebellious Duke's strategy was ennobling humans, you say. That won their loyalty and formed them into a veritable army. An army loyal to its leader can achieve any feat of valor, so the Imperial Legions also ought to have relied upon the valor and unity of their soldiers. Inspire the warriors, earn their loyalty, take the castle by storm. That's the way. Sir Croy looks at you, studying you attentively. Brent, is that your name, young man? I'll make sure to remember it. You are absolutely right. The soldiers' loyalty to their creed, their commander, their emperor. These are the things that make it an undefeatable army. And I wholeheartedly agree. A decisive assault would have brought down the castle at the rebellion's very inception and destroyed all their will to fight. And this, young men, is the moral of the story. Sharm Mellandius was defeated, but not by the clergy and their prayers, and not even by the noble militia assembled by the other archdukes. He was vanquished by Imperial legions, a unified army with a clear regulation and ranks and clear chain of command, an army that is strong in discipline and loyalty to the Emperor. Long ago, only Arcanians had the right to wield weapons and wage war, but now humans can prove their merit and earn the same rights. Humans like ourselves. And the present empire has grown even stronger thanks to its new warriors and functionaries. These days, humans can judge and rule and create. The terrors wrought by the rebellious Duke are now undeniable. Yet his rebellion creates new possibilities for all of us, including you, young Sir Brant. He nods to you in approval, and then his eyes finally move away from you and back to the rest of the young men in the hall. After hearing and praise you, no one dares to argue with a battle-hardened officer. The evening continues. Sir Elcroy shares some of his war stories, each more astounding than the last. You join Thomas and the other cadets in the sipping wine and enjoying his tales. Look at that. Eloquence goes up. Valor goes up. Hell yeah. Almost in another tier. Almost to the seasoned warrior. You return to the college long after midnight. You often recall Baron Elcroy's story about the rebellion of Charmeleonidas after that. The rebellious Duke lost the war, and yet he brought about drastic changes for humans in the entire empire. Letters from home. There are days when you receive letters from home. Father's writing is very reserved. He mostly discusses events and work in Magra and writes very little about the family. It makes me proud that I managed to teach Stefan how to handle your affairs at home. Your older brother handle our affairs at home. Your older brother behaves impeccably at society balls and reception that we host. He's already made several crucial acquaintances. But Gloria has a different opinion of Stefan. She thinks your older brother is taking more and more after grandfather. Yeah, I don't blame him. Like, that's who he had as a role model. Stefan's not like grandfather. It's in his manners, his posture, his voice. He even dresses just like him. He used to be aloof around me, and we barely talked in the past, but now he always blazes me and tears me apart. Can't take it anymore. He walks all over me in the time, treats me like a housemaid. Mother raised you. From her letters, you learn that Nathan just barely managed to graduate from school. Jesus is a troublemaker, too. It makes me sad to admit that Nathan has none of the talents you have. The other day, he told me he won't even try to study in the capital. He says he won't be able to pass the exams. I find solace only in the nights that Nathan and I spend together reading the scriptures and our walks at the church by the Silver Tree. He accompanies me every time. Your sister and younger brother write about Mother too. They say the same thing about her health. She now spends more time locked away in her chambers to brood. Glory does her best to accompany Mother when she leaves home, and Nathan's letters mentioning her steps echoing the halls in the middle of the night. There's one more thing that Nathan mentions in his letters. Stefan and Gloria have been fighting very often these days. Yeah, sounds about right. Stefan always tries to get under Gloria's skin, and she answers to them in kind. Then Stefan calls her lowly commoner to make her shut up. You always tremble in excitement each time you see a new letter with a seal of your home province. Your fate is still bound tightly to your family, no matter the distance between you. What? Why? Why? Why do you dislike me? What did I do to you, Stefan? Gloria, why do you hate me? Dude, why do my siblings hate me? What is this? What is this bullshit? You will become a judge one day, so you are sent to the prefecture of Eterna to be mentored by a more experienced colleague. Your mentor is a judge of considerable age, a noble of the mantle with a proud bearing above him. He never misses a chance to remind you that being mentored by such an experienced man of office is a great honor. Your mentor entrusts you with his minor cases, and to his great joy, his night shift. Of course. Another night begins, the office is growing darker. You're still there, zealously filling out the paperwork for the day. Yay, I'm currently a law clerk. Woo. Petty theft. Verbal assault against the noble of the sword by a commoner. A fine for the parents of children who covers an imperial institution with obscene drawings. Petty cases, all of them, but there are real cases a judge has to face. So you sit there carefully comparing complaints, statements, and witness testimony. Then the door of your office swings open. A gendarme drags in a provocatively dressed girl. Her golden hair is undone and her makeup is fiery red. Girls like her sell their bodies in houses of ill repute. The next to enter the office is a stout priest, his face adorned with a nose of remarkable shape and a huge wart on his cheek. You do your best to avoid staring at it. The gendarme gives his report. The girl was arrested with a certain gentleman in the park by the Temple of the Twins for committing acts of carnality and affront to the faith. The huffing and puffing priest interrupts him and starts yelling. He saw her doing magic. He did. The gentleman was enthralled by the girl who was glowing like a lamppost. He gestured for the priest to stay quiet and asked if the gendarme could prove this. The gendarme only shrugs. He didn't see anyone glowing. He arrested the girl for her sacrilegious conduct alone. The man in her company was a noble, so the gendarme couldn't bring himself to arrest him. He does, however, remember his name. Oh boy. The priest is huffing and puffing even louder now. It was magic, he screams. You must refer this case to the Inquisition. This witch was loose in the streets of the Empire's illustrious capital, seducing good men with her vile charms. Oh boy. The girl stays quiet all the while. Her eyes are emerald green, twinkling with gold as she looks at you. When she does speak, her voice is soft like smooth velvet. Oh boy. My name is Alice, Your Honor. All I did was obey the noble gentleman's wish. He wanted my affection right by the temple, and I dared not oppose him. I did not defy my lot, did I? The wench looks up and meets your gaze as she says these words. Her eyes reflect the candlelight of the dust, sending sparks of gold dancing across the walls. The gendarme stands awkwardly by the door, sighing. The priest goes off on another rant. You tell him to be quiet. The day is not over yet. You must decide how to resolve this unusual case on your own. The law says that the judge must investigate all circumstances related to the case. You know the name of the nobleman who was seen with this girl in the throes of passion. The gendarme was afraid to question him, but you are the future nobleman yourself, a young judge. Surely you can find a way to resolve this matter with discretion and get the information you need from the nobleman. But perhaps the suspicious lady of the evening, Alice, is at the heart of the matter. You have no doubt she'll reveal her true colors if you question her. If the priest was right about her using magic, the girl's fate is sealed. Your Honor. You look up from your desk, in the eyes of the beautiful Alice, you suddenly feel as though a divine light is shining upon you. The emotion river, it lifts you up. It is more than beauty, more than passion, it is much, much more. Will you resist this call or will you heed it? Ah. Damn. Weird. Yeah, we'll find the nobleman. I wish I could interrogate her, but I don't have the willpower for it. I unfortunately have to drag the nobleman out because the gendarme take the girl to a holding cell. Her eyes are filled with chagrin and pity as the man takes her away. You compose a polite and thorough letter to Sir Diego El Quitor. The nobleman seen with the girl in question. Delicately hint that his reputation will be safe and promise full confidentiality. When you come to the office, you see a nervous young nobleman waiting at the door. You must be Judge Brandt. You met with Sir El Quitor with a dignified greeting and start questioning him about the case of Alice the harlot. Is it true the two of them end up at the Temple Park because it was Sir El Quitor's wish? He says he barely remembers last night. He was quite inebriated and determined to have a good time. It's about Alice by accident. She was staying at a lamppost by the temple, and for the Temple Park, he does not quite remember why they ended up there. Take a statement in accordance with established procedure. Next question. Would Sir El say this mind was clouded by the young woman? Nobleman turns around. He asks why. Haven't you seen the lines yourself, Sir Brandt? How could anyone ignore her? So yes, was there anything suspicious about her? He speaks slowly. Yes. It was as though she could see his every desire and was happy beyond measure in her embrace. It felt like the gods themselves were smiling at him. And yet, perhaps it was merely the wine or beauty and nothing else. He thanked the young nobleman for his honesty and promised to keep his statement a carefully guarded secret. He sentenced the harlot 2 days of the pillory for defiling a place of worship with her depravity. You find no reason to interfere with Alice the Inquisition, however. Okay. Good. We're influential. Beautiful. Went up another tier. We ain't gonna get that. I don't know if we're gonna be able to get to that master full diplomat. Like, that ain't happening. Like, I know that's probably only going to be for, like, one major decision in life, but highly doubtful I'll ever get to that. You write case closed and put it in the archives. Alice's death is prevented. You save the enigmatic singer knows the golden voice from an untimely death. Huh. I mean, I wish I had the willpower to interrogate her. I wonder where that would have gone. But imagine getting that, imagine getting that far. Not happening. Overseer of Magra. Alright. Two major events take place while you're busy living your life. Firstly, Cornelius Tempest is no longer the great chancellor of the Emperor. He has been ousted and sent back to his province. His replacement is the Archduke of Monia. Oh, great. Aegerius Monroe. The same Monroe who sought to shut down the college. The most powerful lord of the realm finally convinced the Emperor that his brother Cornelius was giving too much freedom to the lowborn. Now the policies of the Empire will be reversed. Many fear that the new Great Chancellor will destroy the Imperial Code, laws, and other achievements of the Cornelius. There are cautious rumors among the people. They say the Great Chancellor is going to revoke the right of the common lot to be ennobled by the mantle. Secondly, Magra, your homeland, now has a new overseer, Gaius Tempest, the other brother Emperor Uther II. Usually the overseer is a province's archduke. After all, it makes sense for the province's most powerful noble to impart the emperor's will to the locals. Yet now this age-old tradition has been broken. And to no one's surprise, Archduke Tarquinius Melanius is absolutely furious. Gaius Tempest used to be the main supporter of his brother, former Great Chancellor Cornelius Tempest. The nobles of the Emperor's court may say this is a stratagem by the Arcanian gentry who want Gaius removed from the court affairs along with Cornelius. Either way, Gaius Tempest and Tarquinius Melanius will be at each other's throats over the province. It does not bode well for their future. Only one thing is clear. Magra, your home province, is about to face great changes. Hey, we're getting to peace. Hey, festival time. Well, that did not last long. The capital is prepared for a great celebration. The coming of age of Gerion Tempest, heir to the throne. The streets are being cleaned, the lowborn merchants are gone from the squares, and flags of flower garlands have appeared on the buildings. By the Emperor's decree, everyone will celebrate for the next 3 days. Woo! Long weekend, baby! Eterna is abuzz. A festive procession starts on the streets. Students from the college and cadets of the military academy will be there to show their gratitude to the Emperor's family for entrusting them with the power they wield. Ribbons and flags fluttered in the wind. The streets are scrubbed clean and the scent of flowers fill the air. You march side by side with Thomas, carrying the banner of your province. Your friend's brown hair is unusually well come today. He waves to every girl you see on the street as you pass by. They giggle shyly, and some of them wave back. Ooh. You see that, pal? Look at that beauty. She just smiled at me. Now this is what I call a living. I just love parades. Yeah, well, as long as you don't have to march in one. I was very annoyed at that. The Tempest royal family observes the slowly approaching parade from the balcony of the Imperial Palace. They are joined by the Emperor's highest dignitaries and provincial overseers. You see Emperor Uther II with your own eyes. There, high above, yet so close. The columns come to a halt at the balcony and salute the Emperor with the mottos of the college and the academy. You join the other college students in crying, "Learning is strength, learning is will." The Emperor raises his hand in a gesture of benevolent greeting. His voice echoes across the square. I accept your gratitude, my loyal subjects. Take pride as you wield your knowledge and valor in service of the Empire. All who worthy will be ennobled by the mantle, by my grace. The future nobles around you cheer the Emperor's words, but the jubilation gives way to murmurs of discontent when Archduke Monroe, what an asshole, the new Great Chancellor of the Emperor, steps to the balcony. Everyone here remembers all too well how the Archduke attempted to shut down the college by force. Still, the Archduke is the de facto leader of the Arcanian gentry. He is a force to be reckoned with, even for the Emperor, and so he is Great Chancellor now. Hail, your Emperor, common folk! Be forever obedient and grateful by the good graces you do not deserve by birth. Man, screw you. Oh, it's her! The Archduke does not even bother to hide his contempt for the gathering below. Booed by the crowd, he rejoins the dignitaries in the back row. You notice one of them, a slender, elegant figure under an emerald banner with a black snake. She is Octavia Melanius, daughter to the Archduke of Magra. Now that's new. You notice Octavia too, eh? Our Archduke Melania sent his daughter in his stead. That's a sign of disrespect for the Emperor if I ever see one. Is he so enraged because he's no longer the Overseer Magra? I mean, you can imagine his surprise. That's never happened before. But then everyone grows silent. A young, slender Arcanian with a shy smile comes forth. There are whispers of the crowd. That's Prince Gerion, heir to the throne, ward of the Cornelius, promise and hope of the common estate. To the left of Gina is his younger brother, Flavius. He is baffled at the sight of the parade below, too young to process what he is seeing. May the twins be kind to you, my future subjects. I promise to repay you in kind and help you prosper in your loyal service to the Empire. Exalted by these words, the future nobles roar as one. All hail Prince Gerion. Another figure steps forward into the view next to the heir. He is an Arcanian, elegantly dressed, and his mantle bears the Tempest colors. He raises his arm about to make a speech. Hey look, that's Gaius Tempest, the Emperor's brother, and the new Overseer of Magra, by the by. It seems the Arcanian elders want him as far from the throne as possible, just like the other brother Cornelius. Those two have been promising too many freedoms to commoners like you and me. Long live Prince Gerion, students of the college, cadets of the academy. Time and again, you have proven yourself to be Empire by word and deed. Today is the day of great celebration, and in honor of Prince Gerion, you must ask the Emperor to guarantee forever the right to distinguish common folk to be ennobled by the mantle. So ask now. The cadets and students freeze in hesitation. They exchange glances, unsure whether to follow the words of the Emperor's own brother. On the balcony high above, Prince Gerion also remains still, waiting a reaction from the crowd. Archduke Monroe briskly steps into view once more. He takes several seconds to observe the crowd before he speaks. Imperial subjects, what the Emperor's brother wishes to say is that you must always remember that you owe your status to the Tempest dynasty. The Emperor accepts your gratitude and sends you off with his blessing. You may leave now. Jesus Christ. Guy sounds a little too much of his own backside. But the columns stay where they are. That is not what Gaius Tempest said. Let the Emperor hear us. The law. We asked for the law. Oh boy. I can do whatever the hell I want. I love it. Commotion and murmurs spread over the crowd as some of the future nobles refused to follow the Archduke's orders. Their shouts heard here and there. The law. We ask for the law. The academy officers and the teachers of the college urged them to fall in line and resume the parade, but tension is rising. The crowd slowly grows enraged by it and unruly. You have to decide where you stand here. I can buy my time. Oh man, that sounds more like a scheming side. Demand my rights. Oh boy. You join the call to have your right and nobility codified. Oh man. Follow the orders above and direct your column to withdraw from the square. Man. Let's demand our... Man. We're getting our diplomacy out. You have the Emperor's orders. You cannot help but submit. Your duty demands it. And even if other students disagree with Chancellor Monroe's orders, they too have to follow his order. And so, you take the matter in your own hands, giving orders, talking down objectors, and listing the responsible students, help you rein the others. Eventually, you whip the few remaining vocal students into shape and line them up in a semblance of a column. The law! The law! Grab your friend on the shoulder. Does Thomason realize he has violated direct order from Imperial High Command? And he is a future army man? Then what of Gaius Tempest? All we ask is to be heard by the Emperor. Still, you're right, pal. Always observe the chain of command. Thomas sides with you and starts helping you reorganize people into a column. Some students and cadets, however, keep crying for the law and demanding you hear what the Emperor has to say. They gather at the very center of the square. An Imperial Guard cavalry regiment emerges from the palace. They start slowly advancing the crowd, hands on their swords, pushing people out of the square. Yeah, that's not going to end well for those guys. You combine and direct the efforts of the Academy officers and cadets and restore order to the procession. Your orders and calls into action finally have an effect. Most students submit and return to their columns. The commotion of the square is quelled and the cavalry withdraws. Okay. Emperor Uther II appears on the balcony again. Archduke Monroe, the Emperor's great chancellor, stands by his side. The square falls silent at the sight of the sovereign. My subjects, I can see how overjoyed you are for Prince Jiren. But your show of reverence and gratitude is clear enough. Now follow the great chancellor's orders and obey my will. Continue the parade, sing the praise of the Tempest dynasty that has given you so much. Oh my god. The square obediently lines up in columns once again. The bout of defiance is in the past now, and they resume the festive parade through the city streets. You march along with your column thanks to your abilities. It was kept from a rebellion. Jesus Christ, I can't imagine what would have happened. Glory to the Emperor Uther, glory to Prince Jiren. Hey, hey! Look at that. Yes! We're getting up there, baby. Ooh, if we could get received in elite circles, that'd be great. The Way of the Sword. Your studies at the college come easily to you. Only now do you realize the importance of all the lessons you have endured as a child at father's expense. Month after month, you study the judge's trade down to the smallest details. Judge's trade, sorry. Growing more confident in your new calling with every lecture. But there is more to your education than the judge's trade in imperial law. You also learn manners and courtly etiquette, and poetry and compassion, even fencing. On some days you go with Thomas to a deserted patch of land to practice with a sword. And finally the day your judge's exam comes. You send your test results to father, and he replies with an appointment to a judge's office at the prefecture in Magra. Now you have a new life and a new profession back at home. You'll return to your hometown as a judge. It is early morning at the great temple of the twins. Your heart skips a beat as you step inside the temple. It feels like that day from your childhood again. The priest is standing in the altar and the temple is divided into two halves. But you are no longer frightened. You're no longer a frightened little child anymore. You are now a grown man who is about to become a noble. The floor on the common side is to cause pain. You feel the jagged edges even through your soles of your boots. This pain marks your final few seconds as a commoner. The priest stands before you. You kneel again, but there's warm, smooth marble under your knees. You hear the words spoken above your head. From this day forth, your lot is strength and will. From this day forth, you will rule and fight and pursue the arts. Now rise, noble. You place your lips on the smooth steel of the sword. When you rise again, you realize that the trembling you felt ever since your first sacrament is now completely gone. You are risen a new man, your every motion now uncannily accurate, your thoughts surprisingly fresh, your muscles ready to face the fight. This day feels worthy of a poem, and now you can compose one if you wish. You touch your back. The mark of the lash from your previous sacrament is gone, completely erased forever. You hurry from the sacrament back from the room at college. Your father's gift awaits you there, a sword, your very own sword. Now to celebrate, all college students are invited to the college tournament, then a party. The sword feels wonderful in your hand, a promise of future victories. The tournament begins. The stands are loud with anticipation. Never in your entire life have you seen so many beautiful noble ladies in one place, but there is only one who attracts everybody's attention. The raven-haired, black-eyed Octavia Melanthius, the daughter to the Archduke of Magra, has graced the tournament with a visit. She is wearing a dress of emerald green, her austere hairdo immaculate. She is surrounded by her ladies-in-waiting, all beauties in their own right. Oh boy. When a noble enters a tournament, he must announce the name for the lady whose honor he is fighting for. Many shout the names for the loved ones in the stalls. You know that many would fight for Octavia Melanthius, but the onus of responsibility is too great. You take a few jabs of the sword, warming you up for the fight. Soon it is your turn. All eyes are on you now. The young lady Octavia hides her face behind the hand fan and her eyes watching you with curiosity. Dedicated to my father? Really? Yeah, not happening. Choose a lesser-known lady in waiting in the stalls and fight for her honor. Oh! If I had willpower and she does... I do not even remember me. You know what? Since she does remember me, I can fight in her name. Fight in... Yes, let's do it. We're manning up here. You approach the stalls and shout clearly and loudly. You will fight for the honor of the young Duchess Octavia Melanthius. Slowly she rises from her seat. The stalls grow quiet. If you suffer defeat after such insolent words, you may face the ire of one of the ancient Arcanian dynasties. Sir Faramir Brandt? How do I know this name? Ah yes, you already dared to draw my attention once. In memory of our amusing encounter, I will grant you the honor in fighting in my name. Do not disgrace it. I am not a fighter by any means. This is going to go bad. The stalls explode with applause, celebrating your courage. The first fight begins. The rules are the same as any noble duel. Whoever draws first blood wins. Your first opponent does not put up much of a fight. A few minutes later, he misses a jab to the thigh. Your shirt is soaked with sweat. The hilt of your sword feels slippery in your wet fingers. From behind the emerald hand fan, Octavia watches you slowly from her seat. You prevail in 3 fights in a row and prepare to face a new opponent. You know him well. He was mentored at the prefecture of Eterna after you. He is an unusually quick and nimble fighter. He catches you with a feint, then follows it up with a light jab to the side. Fair enough. 3 victories. Not bad. You salute Octavia Melanthius with her sword as she gracefully accepts your gesture. You have proven yourself well, Sir Brandt. Who knew you would become a noble, and we would meet again here in the capital of the Empire? I must say, I am amazed. The eyes of the young Archduchess follows you even after you leave the arena. Oh yeah. You will remember this day for the rest of your life. The day when you became a noble. Look at that. She likes me, and she is intrigued. Go, Brandt. Look at that! One more to go. Just one more. I don't think I'm going to get that point, though, to become received in Elite Circle, so... We graduated from college. I have earned the judge's mantle, the noble's title. Diamant stands trial. Just before you leave the capital, you overhear something unusual in the street. Junius Diamant, Patriarch of Astinia and one of the leaders of the new faith, will stand trial before a church tribunal. The Order of the Inquisition has accused Patriarch Junius of patronizing blasphemous witches and disseminating heresy. The Holy Tribunal claims that Junius Diamant was scheming to free all witches and sorcerers from the collars that fetter their accursed powers. And what's worse, the Patriarch was also accused of forming the Lotless, a dangerous society based in the Imperial capital. Members of the society have been assaulting inquisitors and priests of the church, as well as freeing the witches from the cleansing fire and helping them escape the holy law. Now the Patriarch must face a holy tribunal of the Inquisition in Eterna. By all accounts, this is a devastating blow to the new faith and the end of days for Junius Diamant himself. The Inquisition will make most of this opportunity to rid the land of this unwelcome Patriarch who dared to shake the foundations of the old faith. But then comes the sudden news of Patriarch Junius's reply to the Holy Tribunal. It is no less stunning than the accusation. Oh boy, this is going to be good. Let's see what he's got to say. These words are nothing but lies. I will say this to anyone who dares bring this accusation against me in person. But I want those hypocrites to bear the full weight of the responsibility for the slander against me, my flock, the Diamond Dynasty, and the Holy Order. I agree to stand trial before the Holy Tribunal, but I will face them on my own land and on my terms. Patriarch Junius has already received strong support from Patriarch Luke and many priests across the Arcania. Parishes of the new faith throughout the empire are now speaking out in support of Genius Diamond. The Church of the Twin Gods is about to be rent in twine. Haha. The Inquisition has no choice but to revoke the trial in order to avert the coming schism. Their new official stance is that Patriarch Junius has been wrongfully accused, and the Holy Tribunal will now apply more cautious judgment during any further trials against the followers of the new faith. Following the teachings of the Patriarch Fotis is no longer seen as heresy by the Inquisition. The religious schism is going ahead. The trial of Junius Diamond has been averted, but the divide within the church is only deepening. The new faith has directly challenged the old faith. The result is uncertain depending on who you ask. Some say Junius Diamond has all but pled guilty. Others believe the Patriarch and the alleged rebellion against the church, as well as the Inquisition, is nothing but a ruse. There's also some people who think the entire situation sounds like one of the secret chancellery's dirty deeds. Any of that, and probably all of it, could be true. One way or another, the Patriarch of Astynia and co-leader of the New Faith remains at his post. But for how long? And how will the old faith and new faith clash next? There it goes. It is going crazy. Farewell to the capital. Alright, we're doing good here. The Regalata and the Talarino rivers meet outside the city walls. You barely left the capital since you came here all those years ago. A breeze is blowing in your face, and the bright noon sun hangs above the shining pillar. Your stay in Eterna has come to an end. You arrive here a boy, full of hopes and aspirations, driven by your family's expectations, and desire to live your life as you saw fit. And now you have to leave, and this thought fills you with gentle sadness. Eterna did not become your home, and yet here you have finally found your path. Here in the capital, you became a nobleman and a judge. Now you are one of the rulers, the warriors, the pleasure seekers, the creators, those who spill their blood for the empire and family and honor, those who keep the honor, the age-old traditions. This is your lot now. You are to work at the prefecture of your home in the province as a judge. Your path to this goal is a long one, and your friend Thomas was by your side all the while. You fondly recall your walks through the streets of Eterna, your secret fencing lessons, your heartfelt discussions, and have no doubt your future back at Anziot will be full of glory. And then you recall the black, enigmatic eyes of Octavia Millandius, an Arcanian from one of the great dynasties, a woman whose beauty and majesty make you tremble. You heard she would be returning to the court of her father, the Archduke of Megra. Will you ever see her again? Maybe. I might lose my head over it, but... You'll meet father once more. He tends to hide his feelings, but not this time. After all, you have fulfilled all his hopes. You succeeded in your studies and continue your family's noble legacy. Many things must have changed back home by now. You recall your older brother, Stefan. Now that you've been ennobled, you are practically equals at last. This means you should follow an old tradition and bring Stefan a gift. And so you head for the market district of Eterna. Soon you are busy trying out swords at a weaponsmith shop. There's a lot to consider for this gift. Stefan is taller and his shoulders are broader, which means the sword must be heavier and longer. There can be no embellishments. Stefan would scoff at you if you brought him an extravagant weapon. At last you find a suitable sword, blackened steel. A subtle ornament leaves on the blade, and a grip shaped like woven vines. It resembles the seared soil of Magra beneath the silver tree. You chose the sheath with the same diligence. There's a light wooden frame bound in thin yet sturdy leather that make the blade easy to draw, and the buckle is sturdy enough. You leave the shop satisfied. Yeah! You leave the capital the morning after. Eterna, the city where you spent 4 years, slowly disappears on the horizon. Will you ever see the capital again? You do not know. The sword, a gift for Stefan, is in your hands. Homecoming! We did it. We survived our college years. After 4 years in the capital, you return to your home in Anziot. The end of youth. The years of your youth have come to an end. The time has come to leave the capital behind and return to your family and new business in your hometown of Anziot. The years away from home were full of tumult and hardship. Your adult shoulders now bear the burden of your first life-changing decisions. Did you have the freedom to choose this lot for yourself, or was it your destiny all along, ever since your childhood years? All you can do now is follow the path that lies before you. Alright. There we go. We chose the path of the nobleman. We have the bond of friendship. We saved a girl from being burned from the... Saved the girl from being burned. Personality. We are an influential diplomat. We're not very good at the whole theology, and we're definitely not good at the manipulation. We are okay at fighting. We're tongue-tied. We aren't a very good speaker. And there ain't no way we couldn't scheme up a way of getting a cookie out of the cookie jar. We are done with the end. We are done with our youth. And now we have hit the peacetime. Which looks to be a long period of
A
life.
full adult now, I returned from the capital a changed man. Yet, my hometown was not the same as I had left it. Fate had difficult times in store for all of us.
Alright. I do believe we're going to have new sliders to work with out here. Chapter 4, Peacetime. Yeah. As the carriage wheels clack a steady rhythm over the cobblestones, you watch the lands of Magra, rendered dry and desolate by ancient magic, sail by the window. You are back in your home province, but you are no longer the boy who left it at this very road 4 years ago. You return a nobleman and a judge. You are continuing the family trade. You have returned to serve at the province's prefecture. Your home, Anziot, is but a few hours away along this dusty road. The carriage is steady and hot from the sun, even with the thick blinder shut tight. It is a familiar heat, but you will now need to get used to it again. The heat weighs heavy on you, but also reminds you of your childhood. You will see your family again soon. To pass the time before you return home, you read your father's most recent letter. Again and again, you carefully reread your father's uneasy words, steeling yourself for your first real job and the service that awaits. Dear Faramir, I anxiously wait your return, my son. You are the third judge of our bloodline, the pride of our family. Yet these are hard times for a judge. By the Emperor's decree, Archduke Tarquinius Melanius is no longer the overseer of Magra. The new overseer is the Emperor's own brother, Gaius Tempest, and our province has been split by enmity and strife between the Archduke and the overseer. The nobles have split into two factions, and so too have the commoners. Some side with the Archduke, loyal to their liege and determined to follow the traditions of old, yet many judges and officials are eager to side with Gaius Tempest as the new overseer. Compared to his brother Cornelius, he is less radical and more cautious, but he too seeks to transform the empire and bring the estates to peace. Yet other Arcanians are outraged by the Archduke Meliandus has been deposed. One among them is Dorius Otten, High Commander of Magra. Okay, so Dorius definitely wasn't happy with that decision. That's a good thing because he actually does kind of respect us. I say kind of because he doesn't hate us, and he doesn't feel indifferent. He's like, I know him a little. I don't want him dead. I mean, that's about as good as I can get, I guess. Although Otten and his men are sworn to serve Gaius Tempest and follow his orders, it is no secret that his loyalty remains with the Archduke. While Gaius and the Archduke are at odds, there have been no open confrontations yet. I fear their patience may one day run dry. As for the judges at the prefecture, every day we deal with more and more litigation between nobles and commoners, yet there are no imperial laws that clearly formalize the rights of all three estates. Wisdom, honor, and conscience are every judge's best advisors these days. You made the choice to serve the law, and you will have your work cut out for you. You answer directly to the prefecture Augustian Elborn, a long-standing friend of the family. You need strong allies now more than ever. With the support of the people, such as you and I, the prefect intends to alter the fate of our province. I'm looking forward to seeing you back in Anziot, Faramir. Put the letter back in your pocket. The walls of Anziot finally merged in the horizon. A challenging job at the prefecture awaits you. But first, you are going home. Homecoming! Oh god, there's a lot that can... Good lord, there's a lot that can happen. The most important event that will end this chapter. Only one of them will happen. So only one will happen in this thing. That's going to be absolutely insane. True death, obviously. Otten is sentenced. You convict Commander Otten in a court of law. Oh boy. Otten faces the Court of Honor. You force Commander Otten to face the Noble Court of Honor for his misdeeds. Court of Honor is not banned. Not branded by dishonor. Okay. Knight of Serpents. The supporters of Archduke Melanius take over the city. I have to make a deal, and the family does not equal fall apart. So, that'd be crazy. Broken Chains. The rebellious citizens take control of Anziot. Okay. And of course, True Death. Most important events that may happen in this chapter to the House of Brant at the end of this chapter. Ennobled by the sword. The Brant family becomes a hereditary dynasty of nobles of the sword. It is passed down from generation to generation. Good lord, that's gonna be difficult. Reputation, wealth, unity, man. Favored by the Overseer. Brant families become hereditary dynasty of the sword and the favored Overseer Gaius Tempest. Oh man, that's going to be crazy. Heir of the family. You succeeded your elder brother as heir of the Brant family, noble by the sword, and the heir is not Stefan Brant, which means something must happen to my brother for that to happen. Family falls apart. Brant family is no more. Unity is less than 2. Yeah, good luck with that one. In this events can happen to the Brant family. Family means Brant known throughout the city for its wealth. Yeah, good luck with that. Wealth equals 10. Good luck. Mother recovers. Unity, it has to be great. Oh my god, that's going to be hard. Gloria Brant. Robert adopts Gloria and she becomes a full-fledged Brant. Families at peace or a secret plot with Gloria. Good luck with that. Branded by dishonor. The Brant name is dragged through the dirt, never to recover. Oh my god. The family is at peace. Yeah, that ain't happening. Dude. Unity at 7. Unite the family. Yeah, good luck with that. Families in ruins. Financial well-being. Brant is decimated. Glorious bloodline. Brant family earns a great renown, becoming the newest eminent dynasty in Anziot. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen either. Deeds that you can accomplish in your chosen path, like Protector of the People. Protect the common folk. Gain a powerful patron. Latari Ritual. The enigmatic ritual of long dead race. Okay. Court of Honor banned. You ban the Noble Court of Honor throughout Magra. Dude. That would be absolutely insane. Evidence against Otten. You now have the evidence you need to bring Dorius Otten to trial. The justice requirement for Otten is sentenced, and the career requirements for Otten to face his Court of Honor are reduced by 1. Oh my god. That's going to be difficult. Occupations! Yes. Look at that. Career. The support of the authorities, the nobility, on your path to post prefect of Magra. judge, future prefect, tyranny of the nobles. Justice, fight for justice. Downfall of the prefecture, lawlessness, fight for justice, commoners are protected. Commoners seize power. Interesting. Alright, let's get started on a few events here. We're still good for a little bit. There's a lot to go through in this chapter anyways. The carriage stops. The familiar gate, your bedroom window, the same one you used to climb out the night from time to time. The well-tended garden with its imported soil, delightful greenery and mother's beloved violet irises. The porch you used to jump off when you were little. Actually, let's see something. How's Brant? How's everything going? We're in a modest position. We got moderate means. We have disagreements, but we're not, we're not completely out there. So, I guess that's fine. How does everybody... Okay, Gloria can't stand me. Nathan, he's fine. Me, I am what I am. Stefan really likes me. Mother, she's okay. Alright, so. We're good to go. You are home. You touch the handle of the front door and halt for a moment. It's been 4 years since you left for Eterna, but it feels like yesterday. The air inside is cool, as usual. Father cannot stand to stuff your room and insists on constantly airing out the house. You hear hurried footsteps coming from the direction of Father's study. Before you have time to take off your traveling cloak, you are crushed in Stefan's strong embrace. Your brother's grown taller and more broad-shouldered. When he detaches himself from you, you notice how harsh his features have become. He looks even more like grandfather now. Goody. Grown so much over the last 4 years. Just look at you. You left the low-born boy, you came back Sir Brant. I'm so glad you joined us in the noble estate. You respond by giving your brother a wrapped gift. Stefan unwraps it carefully. When he sees the sword, a boyish smile appears on the stern-faced. It's beautiful. What a wonderful gift, brother. Maybe start a collection. What do you think? There's no hurry, Stefan. And now let me have a look at the prefecture's new judge. Still young in the face, though. Father approaches you, his hands extended. You shake it and wrap your arms around him. Father looks older. His back is hunched and he squints. There's deep lines around his mouth and silver threads in his dark hair and mustache. Taking a step back, Father examines you from head to toe. What fine posture. You had excellent teachers. I'm proud you made it, son. Mother comes out of the living room, leaning on Nathan's arm. Immediately see signs of the illness you read about the letters from home. Her back is bent, her hair is gray, a thin web of wrinkles covers her face, and her complexion has lost its color. She can barely stand unassisted. Nathan leads Mother to you. Slowly, very delicately, she embraces you. You press your face into her shoulders, breathing in the nearly forgotten, dearly beloved smell. Mother holds your shoulders and studies your face for a long time. You've been away so long, son. How you've grown. Just a short while ago, I was trailing you in my arms. You look so much like your father when he was your age, Sir Faramir Brant. Nathan approaches you next. He looks rough around the edges. Your younger brother is almost as tall as you are, and his hair almost reaches his shoulders, but he's still the same lost look in his eyes as when he was a boy. And here's your ne'er-do-well little brother. He hasn't changed a bit or grown an inch after all this time. He couldn't get into the seminary, so he just hangs around. Nathan lets out a heavy sigh and awkwardly puts his arm around you. So glad to see you're back, brother. Home that just hasn't been the same without you. You hear a snort behind you. Everyone turns. At the top of the stairs, Gloria, her arms across her chest. She is dressed as a man in cruettes, a frock coat, and a necktie with a massive pin. The entire family waits for her to greet you. Stefan shakes his head disapprovingly. Your sister descends as if forcing herself to do it, and steps away from you, and Gloria stops and bows. Welcome to your home, Sir Brant. Your sister looks thinner and leaner than she used to. She has dark circles under her eyes, as though she's been sleeping a little or crying too much. Enough pleasantries. Come on, table is set. Lydia's prepared a veritable feast for you. For the first time in years, the entire family is together. You finally spend some time with another member of your family today. Find out how Mother's doing. Support Gloria. Ask Nathan. Man, I could do a lot here. Gloria's going to go crazy, but I need to encourage her, see how Mom's doing. She's getting sick. At the table, you cautiously ask Mother about her health. Oh, it's nothing. I have no complaints. Just been a little weak lately. It happens at my age. I humbly accept whatever fate twin gods have chosen for me. After these words, she stops abruptly and lifts her eyes. Father cuts in. You know, son, you should tell us about your life at the capital. Have you made any useful acquaintances? Our family could do with some good connections right now. You said in one of your letters that you laid eyes on the Imperial family. What are they like, the Tempests? You have to relate the 4 years spent in Eternia. Only later that night, while you're walking the Nathan back porch, you learn more about Mother's health. I'll be frank with you. Mother isn't doing so well. Gloria and I do our best not to leave her alone. You can ask her questions, but her answers often don't make sense. And she keeps falling silent in the middle of a conversation like she did today. Her illness is consuming her. You know, if Mother passes, she may not be reborn. I dread to think that we'll become a father then, and of Gloria. Gloria has had a hard time of it lately, too. Stefan has treated her like dirt for the last year. I think he plans to drive her out of the house, or her origins won't taint the Brandt family anymore. Stefan only cares about one thing now, getting our family ennobled by the sword. So for him, Gloria's just an obstacle between him and his goal. He spent quite some time in silence, gazing at the radiant stripe of the shining pillar as it grows more and more luminous against the darkening sky. The Brandt family's about to face some challenging times. Indeed it is. First day of service. Your service as a judge begins today. You get dressed early in the morning, donning a brand new jacket with a cravat and hat. It's an immaculate look. If you dare say so yourself, you head to the prefecture with Father. The prefecture moved recently. It now occupies a massive new building of white sandstone in the very center of Anziot. Well, why is that there? A stone statue looms above it, the sword of the younger twin, the divine law that directs the worldly judgment. All legal disputes in the province are to be resolved here. You and Father walk up the marble stairs past all the commoners, merchants, and lesser nobles, all petitioners and litigants, huddled by the pillars. Well now, my son, here you shall begin your service to the Empire, in the midst of a great struggle I told you about. If you don't mind a little advice, you'll serve under Sir Elborn. Follow my example and stay close to your superior. He's a human of great worth and practically your relative. You walk past the courtroom and up the second floor where the judges work in their office and receive petitioners. The corridors are many and narrow, filled with the smell of old papers and the sound of muffled, mumbling voices and secretaries and gendarmes running to and fro. Father guides you down a corridor that ends with the door of Sir Elborn's office. Faramir, it's time for you to stand before the prefect. Remember the friendship between our families. You knock and enter. The oak panel office is not without decoration, yet its adornments are tasteful and elegant rather than garish. The flags of Maghreb bearing the silver tree hang over the wall. Behold an imposing desk sits Baron Augustine Elborn, surrounded by papers. His face wears a focused expression you recall from his visits in the past, although it is more wrinkled than you remember. He looks up, his face comes to life. He rises and extends a hand to you. Why, young Faramir Brandt, what a pleasure it is to see you again. So your years at the capital have turned you into a stately young man. I was told you proved quite capable at the college. The city of Anziot needs worthy judges who know their craft now more than ever. Allow me to welcome you into service for the good of the Empire. I'm sure you already know the basics of judicial work. Serving at the prefecture, however, takes more than finding your way through our laws. Although they are quite labyrinthine and contradictory, there's no denying that. Anyway, you look in our province, you see friction between the estates. Old noble blood, new nobles, rich commoners, poor commoners. They all have legal disputes. And we judges work here to make sure this pot never boils over. If we are too eager to follow the traditions of the old and bow to the noble privilege, the common estate will grow desperate and lose all hope for freedom. But if we openly side with the commoners, the nobles' ire will be quick to find us. And so, Judge Brandt, I ask you to be wary and wise. Peace hangs by a thread in this province. Carefully consider every decision you make in this court before rendering your verdict. But first, you need to get accustomed to your new position. You shall begin at once. The prefecture has already assigned you a number of legal proceedings to review and judge. Your office is ready and waiting for you, Sir Brant. The instructions are over. The work begins. You recognize your new office by the brass plate in the door reading Sir Faramir Brant, Judge. You find it rather cramped on the inside, yet still reasonably comfortable. The sturdy desk has all the stationery you need. Behind the desk is a large chair of carved wood, and in front of it are several smaller chairs for petitioners. Heavy curtains hang over the window, worthy opponents for the morning light trying to shine through. There are papers on the desk already including instructions, orders, rulings, and all sorts of other prefecture paperwork. You're about to begin when you hear a sudden knock at the door. The source of the disturbance turns out to be a stout, smartly dressed nobleman. He greets you with an eloquent bow you would not have expected from a sizable individual. Carlo Frockagraven, experienced prefecture judge. Sir Brant, congratulations on your first day of service. Allow me to introduce myself, Judge Carlo Frockagraven. A humble servant of the law like yourself. It's my hope that we become fast friends. And now, if I may, a word of warning to help your work progress smoothly. As a token of our future friendship, I'm aware that Sir Elborn is your immediate superior. As a loyal servant of the Empire, you will, of course, take Ward as your guide. Yet there is no reason to neglect all the other judges of the prefecture, all of whom are noble men of great worth. Their guidance will most certainly aid you as a judge. It will be my pleasure to facilitate your introduction to the noble judges of the prefecture as soon as possible. I see glory in your future service to the Empire, yet it cannot hurt to receive reassurance and support when you might need it most. I shall not detain you any longer, but wish to make some valuable connections by office right across from your own. Okay. So he tends to favor the nobles by the expression that I'm given. Another elegant bow from the judge. Froggaven, the door closes. You are alone at your desk once again. The scorching sun is rising over the province behind the window. Today is an important day. The day when you're about to take your first steps in your new profession. What will you focus on today? Prepare to deal with your first cases, get acquainted with the judges, ask Father for advice. You know what? Let's ask our Father for advice here. He knows the ins and outs, and he's the one I could probably trust the most. For a while, you busy yourself with paperwork and upcoming cases, until you remember that Father's office is right next to yours. He used to help you master the intricacies of Imperial Law at school. Perhaps you could benefit from his experience and guidance now. You shift the case folder aside and walk out of your office. Your father is in his office, standing at the window with a deeply pensive look. The subject of his thought is in his hand, a letter bearing the Archduke's seal. He turns around and pats you on the shoulder and asks you about your meeting with Sir Elborn. A few minutes later, you ask him to give you some advice and fill you in on the situation at the prefecture. My son, you'd best be wary for now. Sir Elborn will be watching you closely, but this is certainly understandable. The prefect's views have made his position rather tenuous. Only a handful of judges at the prefecture have sided with him fully. I am one of them. Yet even I would not dare draw ire of those above us and risk our family's welfare. When a noble and commoner clash in the courtroom these days, the court almost always sides with the noble. No matter the circumstances, even if the commoner is wealthy, the courts are not on his side. The judges rely upon the rule of law if and only if both parties hail from the common estate. Oh boy. Sir Elborn aims to change this, little by little. He is eager to ensure that the imperial law applies to all three states in equal measure. But there are many who oppose him, from Archduke Melanius and his loyal commander Otten to our own fellow judges. Right now, Sir Elborn enjoys the backing of Gaius Tempest, but the Imperial Overseer may abandon him at any moment. So it is my word of advice to you. Be careful. Help Sir Elborn bring the nobles under Imperial law, but do not draw the ire of the other judges. Remember more than ever that your career depends on your verdicts. Even a single careless judgment may be enough to bring our family into disfavor. It was wise of you to ask for my advice before writing verdicts on your own. I'm sure you'll be able to tackle any issue you might encounter. After all, we have prepared you this ever since you were a child. Your discussion continues. Father shares his experience of carefully siding with common estate whenever possible or properly respecting privileges of the nobility. Even a partial victory in such a legal dispute comes as a great surprise to any commoner. Soon the vermilion rays of the setting sun filled Father's office. Your workday has come to an end. As you walk through the corridors with Father, you see the other judges watching you closely. There's a knowing look about them. Sir Frockman, your new acquaintance, is one of those judges. Sir Brant Sr., Sir Brant Jr., good evening to you. It's a joy to see a son following his father's footsteps, both in and out of the courtroom, I assume. I still believe you do well to take me up on my offer. A grown man needn't cling his father's coattails, although the decision is yours, of course. Yeah, he probably didn't like that little snubbery I did. Yeah, I kind of figured. Frockman follows this with a courteous farewell and nod. Father nods to him reservedly, keeping his emotions perfectly in check. Your first day of the prefecture has ended. A carriage outside of you will take you back home. Yeah. Yes, diplomacy. I am up a tier in diplomacy, baby. Woo! That's what I wanted. I began service at the prefecture. Alright. Come back home after a short stroll through the city. As soon as you step in the house, you're greeted by Stefan, who invites you to have a talk in Father's office. When you enter the room, Father has a heap of letters in front of him and signing them one after another. Sir Stefan, I must discuss an important matter with you. While you were in the capital, our family formally petitioned the overseers to grant us nobility of the sword. We have 3 generations of noble blood already. We have the right to make our nobility hereditary. Your father took the steps towards nobility of the sword as soon as Stefan was born. And now we are on the brink of becoming Elbrants. If Overseer Gaius types the nobles of the province deem us worthy, will receive a hereditary title. All nobles of the Brant family, will remain noble forever, as will their descendants. Father, and I do our utmost to maintain the family position, but our goal can be reached only if our reputation remains a blemish in the eyes of high society. Nobility is watching our every step. Father lays a hand on your shoulder. Now this is your cause too. The future of our family depends on it. We need an estimable reputation and wealth. Everyone bearing the name of Brant affects it. Remember that with every action you take, Faramir. You will have to appear before Enzia at high society. We're going to host a reception for the nobility at our home soon. You must uphold the honor of our family, brother. You relate the news from return to our guests and present yourself in a favorable light. With Stefan at the helm, the entire family spends a full week preparing for the majestic reception. The house is flooded with decorations and new tableware. Delicacies are cooking in the kitchen round the clock, and the napkins now bear an embroidered oak branch and chains, the Brant family crest. Gloria is the only one to neglect the common cause. Were it up to me, I wouldn't be seen at this hypocritical gathering, but I don't want to let Sir Robert down. He's the only reason I plan to stay for the event. The evening of the reception has come. Dignified conversations of the clinking of glasses fill the house. Among your guests are many high-born, powerful people. Your father and Stefan dance from guest to guest, making sure no one is overlooked. Young Faramir, how splendid to see you. So what was your time in the capital like? You exchanged pleasantries with a high-placed relative. Meanwhile, Gloria and Mother spend the evening on study by the wall without drawing any attention. Neither your father nor your elder brother introduced him to the noble guests. Still, one of the guests, a young nobleman of the sword named Jose El Pelletier, keeps staring at Gloria in fascination. Your sister averts her eyes, bemused. Oh boy. Lady Gloria, you are a true gem of this evening. You are so marvelously daring. I haven't seen your like even in the capital. When you walk past Gloria, you hear her hurried whisper. Faramir, please talk to me. This Sir El Pelletier keeps following me. I feel uneasy. What does he want from me? I'm just a lowly commoner. Come with me to the other side of the room, although I'll probably still stand out among all these refined nobles. Look, it's Durant the painter. I wonder what has brought him so far from the capital. It would be fabulous if we could paint our family portrait. We should all be on canvas together. We're one big happy family, after all. Damn! Wine glass in hand, you cast a look across the crowded room. It is time to choose how you will spend the evening. Yeah, that ain't happening. Oh, manipulation, eloquence? Nope, not happening. Victor at the tournament? Yeah, that didn't happen. I mean, I still won like 3 matches, so. Even though the lowborn, your mother and sister deserve attention of the guests, share news from the capital. Display your knowledge of the metropolitan life to the guests. We'll share news from the capital. The moment you approach Stephanie, links elbows with you and leads you to the most prestigious place at the table where the most eminent guests are seated. May I present to you my younger brother, Faramir Brant. He has just returned from the capital. Faramir, why don't you entertain us with latest news from Eterna? Make a courtly introduction and describe the recent noteworthy events of the capital, the celebration of the heir's coming of age, the attempt by Gaius Tempest to enshrine the laws of the rights of the noble the mantle, Patriarch Luke's sermon. The nobles inquire about the customs and sentiments of the capital. Is it true that the wealthy commoners of Eterna do not acknowledge the authority of the nobility? Or are the adherents of the new faith openly denounce the lots? You describe the state of the affairs of the capital in a delicate manner as to not antagonize your guests. Yes, there are plenty of liberties taken in Eterna, but you can attest to the fact that the Emperor still rules with a firm hand and maintain order. More and more listeners gather around you. They plunge into heated discussion. Will the wave of change reach our province? What awaits our homeland under the rule of the new Emperor Gaius Tempest? The guests agree that the nobles of the province have had some tough times ahead of them, but worthy families like the Brants give them hope. My sister ain't gonna like this. Excellent, brother. You have shown yourself and our family in a favorable light. Moreover, you managed not to distress our guests with alarming news. The night was a success. Yes! Reputation going up, baby! Yes! Diplomacy, baby, going up. Manipulation's going up. Oh my god, my diplomacy is doing great. It ain't gonna hit that. It might not hit that 20, but I only got 3 points left to go. Oh, good. Gloria doesn't completely hate me. Here we go. The Brant home has been uneasy for several months now. With the father traveling all over the province for his judicial duties, the animosity between Stefan and Gloria has grown into a full-blown feud. Your elder brother tries to use his position as heir to keep his sister in check and make her behave in accordance with her estate. Gloria repudiated his authority. Their fights wreck the house on a daily basis. Eventually, after returning from his last trip, Father gathers Stefan, Gloria, Nathan, and you in his office. His somber look pretends a difficult conversation. Stefan gazes at his father defiantly. Gloria is poised to lash out and run away. Nathan quietly keeps to the side. Children, for a long time now, our family has been striving to become nobles of the sword. Every noble member of the Brant family will gain a hereditary title. This is your grandfather's dying wish. Gloria sighs loudly. Then why am I here, Sir Robert? She's right, this is a Brant matter. Wait until I finish, Stefan. I'm still the head of this household. If you are truly so concerned about honor, show your father some respect. It can't be helped, not all of us are noble, but now we must be united as never before. We must work together to protect the reputation and wealth of this family, but you, Stefan, perpetually humiliate Gloria. Father, all I'm trying to do is put her in her place. You know perfectly well the consequence of any attention Gloria might attract. Our every step is being observed. The nobles will make pariahs of our family for eternity, and they remember Gloria's filthy origins and your reckless marriage to Lydia. Father turns red in the face, but with considerable effort, he remains composed. Man, I would have bitch slapped my brother for that one. Because that was my mother, too. That is so. Our grandfather did everything in his power to remedy your mistakes. Please, Father, don't repeat them. Gloria speaks up. I'm just trying to live, Sir Robert, but Stefan wants to lock me in a cage so nobody will ever lay eyes on me. That is not all. You are lowborn, but you don't live by your lot. You do whatever it takes your fancy. You're constant grumbling about the order of things. Did you know, Father, that she defies all prohibitions by continuing to write poetry? As far as you're concerned, anyone who contradicts you is an insurgent. When will you grasp the idea? You may not argue with a nobleman. I am the heir of this family. My word is your law. Purple with rage, Father slams his fist on the table. It's rare to see him so furious. Both your elder brother and sister instantly fall silent. Frightened, Nathan shrinks into a corner. Hold your tongues. Damn, that ain't happening. Hold your tongues, both of you. You, let Faramir speak. He has witnessed your quarrels. He should know what best which of you is in the right. Damn. Yeah, that ain't happening. Theology ain't happening. I mean, our brother can definitely stick it, but you know, I do have to speak up for my sister just this once. You turn to Stefan abruptly and point your finger at him. It's no wonder Gloria fights back fiercely. Stefan torments and chastises her incessantly. Your elder brother stops smothering every impulse Gloria has. She won't resist so viciously. You're family, after all, not a pack of wild animals where the strong dominate the weak. Are you blaming me for our escapades, farmer? Me, who selflessly labors to preserve our family name? This is outrageous! Father, will you really heed to his advice? Purple with rage, Stefan clutches his fist. Father rises from his seat, eyeing his eldest son gloomily. Farmer is right, Stefan. You have overstepped your bounds. I took Gloria into my house, so you, my son, must respect her and be considerate of her. Your orders do not give you the right to put such pressure on your sister. Stefan rushes out of the office and slams the door behind him. Gloria cannot conceal her joy upon hearing you and Father chastise Stefan. Little tyrant. That'll teach him. I hope what goes around comes around. Hope he leaves me be from now on. Yeah, that's fine. Soon rumors start circling in Anzio. High society suggests that you are orchestrating a plot against Stefan, the legitimate heir of the family. It's not hard to guess who started those rumors. Now the entire city knows that there's trouble in the Brandt household. Hey, it happens. The land dispute. Oh boy, this is going to be a major one. It is the morning of a very sultry day, and you are back at the office. You are beginning to get used to the duties of your new profession. Father visits you on the job now and then to see your progress and provide advice, but by now he's confident you can handle work on your own. Today is your first case assigned by the prefect himself. For the conference of your chair, you go through the facts and circumstances of the case. The matter seemed simple at first. Seeking some desperately need financial gain, a noble from the less than wealthy El Avila family rented out a sizable portion of his estate to a well-off commoner by the name of Basil Young. Okay, so all the rent payments are in order. There's plenty of time left before the lease is set to expire. But the commoner built large dye works on the estate, and then El Avila suddenly filed a case with the prefecture to evict him. Alright, so to understand this right, okay? So, renter still has time on the rent, but there's no reason to evict him at this moment. Unless the large dye works itself is against the contract. The rental agreement specifically states that the commoner Young has the right to construct any building on the land. Okay, that's a point in the commoner's favor. The noble landowner, however, thinks he has the final say in any constructions if the land belongs to him. Basil Young, on the other hand, has refused to vacate the rented land since the term of the agreement has not expired. Both parties are to appear at the prefecture to hear your decision. The litigant, Sir El Avila, enters first. He is an aging noble who dresses far too colorfully for his years. He walks your office with confidence and sits in front of you. The next man to enter is Basil Young, a heavy-set man with a thick beard, clothed in an old jacket, clutching a hat. He stands at your desk and bows to you. Sir Avila does not hesitate to speak first. Your Honor, I demand you drive this commoner Young from my land. His dye works is noisy, nasty, ugly-bellied, and I refuse to have it on my property. My family already had to endure their warehouse or filthy workers right by our own estate, but this is simply beyond the pale. Even the court says the dye works must be demolished, or I, Gustav El Avila, will do it myself. He asks Sir Avila to compose himself and tell the commoner to give a statement. Basil Young gives his account, speaking in a deep, gruff bass. Your Honor, it cost me all my money to build the dye works. The contract says it clear. I have the right to build anything on the land during my rental period, and Sir Avila didn't say a word at first, but now he up and demands we demolish it. My family would be ruined. That's not going to happen, I say. Damn. Sir Avila screams at him in returning outrage by what he calls his cunning trickery. The bearded Basil Young disagrees again and again, his pudgy fingers pointing at the clause of the agreement. It is noon already. The sun is so hot, even the air itself seems to melt away. This is your first case error. It's time to deliver your verdict. Now, honestly, I would say I would hope that there's another. I could protect Young's rights, which I mean this is contract law. He is abiding by the contract. That's not going to go well. Terminate the rental agreement. Are you kidding me? I need willpower? No, that ain't gonna fly with me. Manipulation? Yeah, no. So, honestly, I wish I had an option where I can ask that, if he wants this contract to be terminated, that the owner of the guy who built that the rentee gets back compensation for the dye works. If he wants to breach the contract, he has to, he's going to have to pay something. Oh my god. Man, like I want to be in the commoner side, but my career path, I'm in a dangerous position already. So I'm gonna have to comply with the noble. I hate to do this because I would rather they came up with an agreement, a compensatory agreement. That's not an option here. Like, terminate the rental agreement, dude. That is just bullshit. I don't even know where to begin what that would do to the future. You deliver your verdict. The terms of the rental agreement notwithstanding, no commoner has the right to construct a factory or any other full-scale production facility on noble's lands without the noble's explicit agreement. You remind Young that the land belongs to and will always belong to Elavila family. As noble the sword, this right trumps any agreement. The commoner Young has 1 week to dismantle the dye works and vacate the land, effective immediately. God damn it, I hate myself for doing this, but... What are you saying, Your Honor? I'll put all this I had into this. My family will starve. I'm not leaving until I have my justice. You have no choice but to call for the gendarmes. You demand that Young calm down and accept the verdict with humility, as a commoner should. Rule over land is an eternal noble right, not a commoner's right, you tell him. But Basil Young is stubborn. He refuses to leave your office and keeps shaking the rental agreement at you, even as the gendarmes remove him from your office and the prefecture. I know. With that done, you tell Sir Elavilla to take good care of Young and his family. They are commoners, yet they are his subjects too. It is noble's duty to rule well over the common estate. Certainly, Sir Brant. You have my thanks for resolving the matter so swiftly. Not that I expected any other resolution, of course. Rest assured, the other nobles of the sword will hear of your integrity. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. The rest of the prefecture soon learns of your verdict. Most of them support your decision. The law exists to keep the lowly estate in check. While the lowborn resort to cunning and bite the noble hand that feeds them, a judge must be there to put a stop to it. Man, we went from affluence to security. Yay, I'm back up to 4. Yay. Man, this just... I'm going to be walking a thin line here, buddy. A thin line. The Archduke and the Overseer. 2 powerful lords have been struggling for power in Magra for over 2 years now. The new Overseer of the province, Gaius Tempest, cannot seem to rein in the obstinate spirit Archduke Tarquinius Meleandus. Unwilling to accept that he is no longer the Overseer of Magra, the Archduke still stubbornly continues to assert his right to rule the province. Most of the Magran gentry, who swore allegiance to him generations ago, remain loyal to him even now. Gaius Tempest has publicly demanded the Archduke recognize the Overseer's rule as legitimate. I am the voice and the will of the Emperor Uther II in the province of Magra, all lands, deeds, and titles notwithstanding. Archduke Meleandus must obey his sovereign's will and heed this decree. I hereby extend the Archduke's an offer of peace. Should the Archduke cease his insubordination, his lands, deeds, and titles shall remain his own. The Archduke's response to the Overseer was openly defiant. Since the days of yore, the land of Magra has belonged to the Meleandus dynasty. We are part of the Empire, and we are the Emperor's loyal servants. However, our dynasty will not stand in such intrusion upon our lawful rights and privileges. Never before has an Archduke been stripped of his rights to represent the Emperor's rule in his own province. So do not forget, Sir Overseer, that the height of the noble families of Magra have sworn fealty to me alone. Neither the Archduke nor the Overseer will relent, but both are too powerful to be readily disposed of. The bad blood between the two Arcanians have festered for too long, and the common people have begun to pay the price for their strife. Stripped of the Overseer's tax privileges, the Archduke Melanius has decided to impose his own levy upon the citizens and villagers of Magra. The commoners are now forced to pay the taxes twice. Jesus Christ. First to the Overseer, and then to the Archduke. Yeah, that's going to cause problems. This double burden is too much for the common people of Magra to bear. May refuse the second tax outright as a lawless measure, but the Imperial Legion, led by the young Dorius Otten, is ruthless. Eagerly and without mercy, the Legion soldiers collect the Archduke's due in cities and villagers alike. The last year has been an ordeal for your family. The pains taken to be ennobled by the sword, the close attention of the city aristocracy, the squabbles between Stefan and Gloria. Tonight, your preoccupied fathers gather the entire family around a table in the backyard. The sun is almost set, and there's a soft breeze, but instead of a meal is open the air, you attend a family meeting. In the middle of the table, you see an open gilded box. It's full of jewels. Archduke Melanius himself has bestowed this gift upon us. Surprise indeed. I thought you all had a right to know. Father unfolds a letter lying inside the box. Sir Robert Brant, I bestow this precious box upon you and your families as some of my care, which I treat the people of my province. Pray accept this gift, and remember, with whom the loyalty of the true nobles of Magra lies, the Archduke Magra, Tarquinius of the Melanius. The family stares in amazement, the jewels sparkling in the last rays of sunshine. It's worth quite a fortune, but the Archduke is fully aware that I'm on the side of Prefecture Elborn and Overseer Gaius Tempest. Could he really expect our loyalty to be bought so brazenly? On the other hand, the Archduke is not demanding anything of us, and our family has borne a lot of expenses recently. Father, no one is forcing you to side with Melanius. Who are we in comparison to the Archduke anyways? We must not anger him by refusing his gift. The jewels are certainly welcome. They are worthy of being shared with the best families of Anzia. They will pave our way to the nobility of the sword. Mother shakes her head glumly. Oh, Robert, I have a feeling this gift bodes ill. It may be an impertinence on my part, but I do not want our family to be indebted to the Archduke. Certainly not. Accepting gifts from Melanius. He's infamous for oppressing the commoners and robbing villages blind with his taxes. This isn't your decision, Gloria. It's a matter of our family's honor and reputation. Please, don't start bickering again. Let Faramir say what he thinks we should do with this gift. You are the center of attention now. Your vote will be the deciding factor. Oh, God. I can... Oh, my God. This is... Oh, man. What to do, what to do, what to do. Alright. This will probably be like the last decision of the night, so we'll see how this goes. Give the jewels to prominent nobles. Accept the jewels from the Archduke. We give them away as gifts to gain favor. I mean, that would help. We could decline the gift. Yeah, that would be bad. In all honesty, because I kind of want to side with, the Archduke's daughter. I mean, she knows me. She knows of me, at least. Sell the jewels. Like, we could definitely get some wealth. How's our, occupation? I mean, that's not gonna help. Province. Alright. No, not relations. Family. House Brant. Here we go. We're in a modest position. We have moderate means. We're not affluent yet. 5 disagreements. We're almost at peace. Let's do it. You agree with Stefan. A gift from the Archduke is not to be refused. It would be better to use it for a more important goal, obtaining the nobility of the sword. You and Stefan will determine how and whom the gifts will be given. I'm inclined to work towards the same solution. Let it be so. I'll send a note to the Archduke expressing our humblest gratitude, but I'll point out that I don't mean to change sides. I still serve my prefect and my overseer. Be careful, Father. The Melandius house is not to be trifled with, but the Archduke will have nothing to reproach you with. Faramir and I will put the jewels to good use. You and Stefan spend the next couple weeks arranging the meetings and attending receptions and feasts. You discover you are on par with your brother in understanding the nobility of Anziat, including their relations and their quirks. The generous gifts and the refined manner your brother and you display before the aristocrats allow your family to rise in their esteem. There is but one disadvantage. You do not have a single coin tucked away in the family treasury. Hey, it happened, dude. Diplomacy is going up, baby! I mean, yeah, we do definitely need to get some coin for the family, because, I mean, we're wealthy, we're just not, you know, rich. Okay, we could go through one more. Power of the law. You just completed your first year of service at the prefecture. Several days after your second year begins, there's a knock at the door. You look up from your paperwork and tell a visitor to come in. Sir Elborn's secretary slips inside quietly. The prefect has an important matter to discuss with you in his office. Augustine Elborn looks weary and aged, but he greets you with his usual charismatic warmth. You take a seat in the comfortable chair across from him. Sir Elborn asks his secretary to pour you and him some wine. Sir Brant, it's good to see you. I hope the judge's trade is coming easily to you now. I must admit, I've been watching your first case closely. You already had to resolve a rather difficult land dispute between a commoner and a noble. We will see even more litigation of this kind in our province in the future. Now it's time for you to answer an important question. In this great dispute between the two estates, where will you stand as a judge? Take a look around you. Life in the Empire as we know it is changing. It is our duty as nobles and judges to make peace between all the estates on the basis of law. However, the prefecture faces a great hindrance in its pursuit of this goal. Many nobles are still determined to abide only of the traditions of old, especially the Arcanians. For those nobles, the only law above them is the court of honor, where noble ranks and duels decide everything. They reject the jurisdiction of the prefecture and outright defy the newer laws and regulations of the empire. This is to say nothing of what happens when an Arcanian has a dispute with a human commoner. Some Arcanians would rather cut a human down then and there than waste time on what they see as pointless litigation, even though the law says that all the Emperor's subjects have the right to a fair and just trial. One of the most flagrant violators of the law is Dorius Otten, the commander of our province's military. You've encountered him before, haven't you? Several times, actually. That Arcanian nobleman is a notorious duelist. Anyone who crosses his path risks insulting his honor. His sword has ended the lives of many human nobles, not to mention all the commoners who have been unlucky enough to run afoul of him when he was bored. Surely you realize, Brant, that we are the only ones who protect those people. The low-born lot forbids a commoner to arm himself, and even those who would rather defy their law have no chance against Dorius Otten, one of the most skilled Arcanian swordmasters. Otten cannot be allowed to commit murder with impunity. We have to stop him and all the others who act as he does. Imperial laws must prevail over their barbarous traditions. But as of now, I have no authority to put Otten on his trial. Our province still abides by the old traditions, and humans are powerless against the dynastic powers of the Arcanian aristocracy. Putting an Arcanian on trial for his crimes would be unthinkable at best. We have to work gradually to change this, Brant. I need you as an ally. What we have to do is strengthen the power of imperial law and Magor so that eventually everyone will respect the law, from humble beggars to highborn Arcanians. We must show everyone that law is not the noble instrument of oppression against the common folk like the divine law. Imperial law must stand above all, with no regard for birth, rank, or title. This is why I have decided to address you today, Faramir Brant. Side with the law, side with your father and myself. Side with justice in every case always, no matter who stands trial before you, be they lowly commoner or noble elite. With enough precedent, we will put an end to highborn tyranny and ensure that the law is respected through the province. But I must warn you, even here at the prefecture, I am not all-powerful. Many judges oppose my point of view. Not openly, at least not yet, but I am certain they will work against us in the shadows. Now, Brant, what is your answer? Are you ready to side with me and change your province for the better? Are you prepared to support me, the High Grand Gentry, to defend the common folk like Dorius Otten? Oh, man. This is a big turning point. I will go my own way, actually. Like, maybe going his way is wrong. Maybe I can reject him without directly opposing him. Let's go about... Although that would also hurt my father. I mean, he loves me. And that might bring, it might actually bring the family down. I'm sorry. I'm not going to reject it. I mean, I'm going to reject it. Below them of their silence. With such passions be difficult to climb off. No matter what you think of the prefecture or his views, not ready to make Elborn any promises. Yes, exactly. Your service at the prefecture has just begun. Your life can still change at any moment. If you accept his plea and his offer, what cases will you have to tackle? Who will you have to represent? What will it cost your family and yourself? No, you're not willing to make any promises you cannot reliably keep. You share these concerns aloud with the prefecture. Elborn's face grows stiff, becoming an emotionless mass. He answers with a reserved nod. I understand what you're saying, young Brant. When I was young, I also thought the Empire was too big, too monolithic, too set in stone. I thought any attempt to change was futile and doomed from the start. But now I know one thing for certain. The world changes, and it's people who change it. Anyone may act today to change the Empire of tomorrow. When you have to deliver your next verdict, consider my words. Rest assured, your decision will not affect your job in any way. Continue performing your duty as a judge, and I will guarantee your efforts will be justly rewarded. Best of luck in your service to the Empire, Sir Brant. I am sorry, Augustinian, but it happens. You return to your office. Your desk is covered with endless paperwork, as always. At first glance, nothing has changed, but now you know much of your daily grind at the prefecture affects the world at large. You sit at the desk once again in deep in thought. Woo! Yes! Willpower, baby! Thank God. An old friend. Maybe I'll run into my my friend Thomas, but we're done for tonight. That's a good amount of storytelling. 3 hour talking for 3 hours straight. Yeah, that is rough. But yeah, we did good. We did good so far. So next time we go and play, we're going to do some more. Next time we're going to be doing some more. What do you call it? Xenosaga 3. And, well, until next time, this is Faramir, signing out.